to kind of dispel those chances, and they were really the more aggressive team in the second half. So coming into this one, very comfortable teams looking at each other, and they're going to know what to throw at one another.
Now, you make mention of that physicality. We heard all week both coaches make mention of how this is going to be a physical matchup. Both teams know each other very well, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays down with everything on the line. Both teams, the number 2 and number 7, looking to go to Philadelphia and the College Cup, as we are underway here at Jerry Yeagley Field in Bloomington, Indiana, with a packed crowd filling the seats. And I talked to you before this matchup, Jacob, about how I'm expecting almost upwards of a couple thousand here at Jerry Yeagley Field. How impactful can be this crowd? As we see Mason Toy on the far side getting some room, using his pace early on. Toy with a quick takeaway. Trying to get beyond that stout defensive line of Michigan State. But Jacob, how impactful can this Hoosier Nation be? Because that's clearly the differentiator between the last time these two teams played.
Absolutely, these two teams very similar. Obviously, last time it was in East Lansing, the last regular season game of the season for both of these teams. And if either one of them could have won that game, they would have won the Big Ten regular season, been crowned champions. Neither one of them could get it done. They went to overtime, couldn't get it done in overtime, and they ended up drawing in that one. So this home field advantage is huge for Indiana, and Coach Yeagley's talked about it all season. The players have talked about it all season, especially with the Crab Band and the Hoosier Army. They're just right on top of the players, and they make a huge difference. They give confidence to Indiana, and they really get in the minds of the opposing teams.
This ball played forward for DeJuan Jones. Tries to cut in, but Timmy Mel is there with a key intervention. Mel knocks it out. Jones. Back to Ken Krolicki, who sends this one into the box. A quick header and a quick finish for the Spartans, and Ryan Sierakowski putting Michigan State up 1-0.
You talk about a quick start, Eddie. You'll see it again here. Krolicki sending this one in, and Sierakowski getting a great header on it. A tremendous header that really caught Trey Muse off guard, and that's not something you're going to see too often from this Indiana backline throughout the season, catching them off guard. And Michigan State off to a tremendous start in this one. One of the quickest goal of the season that Indiana's been down, and this is the first time throughout the whole season that Indiana has trailed in a game.
The first time the Indiana Hoosiers have trailed all season. That's an aggressive sentiment, but it's a true sentiment after Ryan Sierakowski, and could we have expected anyone else, finishes that one for his 9th goal of the season as he leads the Michigan State Spartans. And Jacob, what does Indiana do now? How do they change their approach?
Well, obviously, I was going to mention before that goal how the first 10 minutes of every game are so important for both teams to kind of get in their groove, set the tone for what they want to do. And Michigan State obviously setting the tone, coming out aggressive and catching the Indiana defense off guard, which we haven't seen at all season, only giving up 5 goals.
Dorsey misplays that one. A tough touch, and Michigan State can go the other way.
It'll be really interesting to see the response of Indiana because they have not been down all season in a game. They've either been tied or up in every single game they've played all season. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to this going forward.
Ball chipped forward and controlled by Muse. And that must be a new feeling for Trey Muse, only giving up his 6th goal of the season. The first time he looks behind him and he sees the goal in the back of the net. An attempt to play Reese Buckmaster forward from Austin Poncho. And now Jimmy Haig can reset things for Michigan State. Sierakowski loses control, and Indiana can reset from there. And Buckmaster up to Dorsey. Now, Indiana, you mentioned how they're going to respond. It seems as almost though the Hoosiers have not faced any adversity all season, but they have. You take a look at the Big Ten championship and their loss or draw per se to Wisconsin. They certainly faced a ton of adversity there.
Absolutely. I mean, you go into the Big Ten championship, they set out 3 goals to start out the season.
As Dorsey can't keep control of that one.
And as I was saying, they set out 3 goals to start out the season, win the Big Ten regular season, win the Big Ten tournament, and they weren't able to accomplish either of those goals. That third goal is getting to the College Cup and winning the national championship. Now down 1 goal, they have their backs against the wall so early into this game, but that does kind of bode well for them. They have plenty of time to get the equalizer either in the first half or as the game goes on in the second half, but they're really going to have to be smart about how they play defensively and not let in another goal to go for Michigan State.
Connor Corrigan with a throw in here on the near side, and you mentioned trying to find a goal. This Michigan State defense is almost just as impeccable as Indiana, so it must be a daunting task.
Absolutely. 10th in the nation in goals given up, only 0.6 per game given up. Indiana at 0.2, that leads the nation, obviously already giving up a goal in this one. So going up against that Michigan State defense, Jimmy Fiskus, the center back, very similar to Grant Lillard, the center back for Indiana. Both of them captains for their respective teams, both of them putting in some offensive output as well from that center back position. So very good leaders, very smart players, and Jimmy Fiskus leads that back line very well.
You mentioned that leadership. Grant Lillard now on the ball. Leadership going to be pivotal in this key matchup as this ball played forward for Poncho. He's got plenty of space on this far side. Ref does not call offsides, and then a quick takedown on the far side by Jimmy Fiskus. You mentioned how pivotal he is.
Yeah, we'll see Fiskus here. A great tackle there. Got around Poncho, got his foot on the ball, and made sure to get a clean tackle on it to kick it out of bounds.
Indiana now with bodies forward. The throw into Poncho. Back to Gutman with a nice meg. Tried to chip it forward, but that'll set up a corner kick.
And this is one thing that Indiana is going to have to be absolutely crucial at in today's game, especially down 1 goal. These set pieces, they dwell on these. They love these set pieces, and they like to get them going. They're going to have to execute these going forward.
Nothing Coach Yeagley loves more than his patented Yeagley restarts. As Mason Toy will set up on the in-swinger. Toy sends it in. Near post, just over the head of Frankie Moore and cleared out by the Spartan back line.
It's interesting to see from Mason Toy because he usually likes to play it to that back post, a little bit more of a blooping ball, whereas Trevor Swartz will come in there from the other side, play a little bit lower of a cross to that near post, which is what Toy tried to do there.
Swartz in the ball, plays it forward to Gutman. Gutman, one of the most aggressive fullbacks in the nation, and for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, Gutman playing left back offensively, one of the best defenders in the nation. He's got 6 goals and 4 assists on the season. Only 2 goals last season, came into this season, really worked in the offseason on his shot, making sure he could get his shot on goal. And he's done such a great job of that. And I think what makes him even more prolific is his fitness is so good. He can make those runs off of those left flank, and then he can make it all the way back and play good defense on the attackers coming at him.
Gutman taken down aggressively, and we hear that Hoosier Nation crowd on the far side get adamant about that takedown.
And that we talked about it. The Hoosier Nation crowd is going to make a difference here. Gutman throwing out his body great there. Got a touch pass using his pace, making the defender step in front and drawing the foul.
Freitag, the one with the tackle there. Freitag, the transfer from DePaul, playing that right back position. As Ryan Sierakowski tries to get beyond Timmy Mel, but that's never an easy task.
Yeah, a smart play by Timmy Mel there. It was him and Sierakowski going at it one-on-one, just to play it out of bounds, make sure he didn't have to take Sierakowski going down the field.
Michigan State with this far side throw in with everything looming. Philadelphia ahead as DeJuan Jones cuts into the box, gives it a rip from the top of the box, and a little bit of a tough play for Trey Muse, who parries that out wide for what will be a corner kick for Michigan State.
You see Trey Muse there trying to will some life into his back line. Francesco Moore, he's got to get in front of DeJuan Jones right there and try to deflect that shot, but a great save by Trey Muse to get to it.
Now for this corner, Connor Corrigan will try and send this in. Rather, it looks like Giuseppe Barone. Connor Corrigan leading in corner kicks, has taken 42 of them so far this season from Michigan State, but Barone will take this in-swinger to the far post, off one head, and then Toy maintains control and clears it out. Barone back on the ball. Makes one move, two moves, cuts inside, chips it forward to the far post, but no one is there for Sparty. Another huge opportunity for Michigan State, really starting to build momentum.
That's a really dangerous ball right there from Barone to play it to that back post. There were 3 Spartans coming onto it. It was great defense by the Indiana back line to make sure they had their marks and stayed in front of them and just let it go.
Timmy Mel to play it out the back. Mel pushing it forward to Corey Thomas, but can't find him. Corey Thomas, of course, one of these examples of progression in this Indiana Hoosiers program. He has really developed under Coach Yeagley.
Absolutely. Didn't play as much as he would have liked to last year. Came into this year, had similar playing time, and then when Jeremiah Gutjahr went down in the middle of the field, his name was called on to go on that outside flank and play down the lines, and he's done a great job at it. 7 goals on the season, really having a breakout year for the junior.
Speaking of breaking out years, Dorsey leaves it for Buckmaster. Buckmaster, one of the underrated players on this Hoosier team, already has 6 assists on the season at that right back position. Tries to get it to Dorsey, but a little bit of a miscommunication, and Michigan State, you know how good they can be on the counter. An attempt forward for Sierakowski, but he just loses his footing, and now Indiana can reset.
And that's what's so good about this Indiana team is when they do have the miscommunication, they make sure to start communicating, get back on defense, they drop back, cycle through, and they get the ball back.
Ball forward to Dorsey. Can't keep control, and now Ken Krolicki has it in the midfield. Be a foul on Swartz, and Michigan State could reset things here.
Just a little professional foul there from Trevor Swartz to try to stop the run of play. Make sure Indiana's defense can get set back up. And as we see this game go on, it's going to get much more chippy as it was last in the regular season game. These two teams played a very chippy game, very physical game. It'll start turning into that, especially with Indiana being down 1 goal.
In a situation like this, Indiana's going to have to look to their leadership structure, and it's really the biggest differentiator between these two teams. Michigan State led by a strong senior class, and Indiana really only has 2 seniors in Rashad Hyacinth and Grant Lillard.
Yeah, and Grant Lillard, one of the best leaders in the nation, one of the best center backs in the nation, who leads this team very well. I'll be really interested to see how these freshmen respond. They have never played down in college soccer before. They've never played from behind with Griffin Dorsey, Mason Toy, Trey Muse. And I'm really interested to see how Mason Toy plays from behind because he hasn't had to do it all season with his 10 goals.
Corey Thomas leaves it for Moore. And we spoke to Frankie Moore before this matchup about what he says to this freshman class, and he just says, embrace the moment. You guys have had it kind of easy. You have not seen the struggles that we did in previous years, so enjoy the moment, embrace it, and respect it, and it'll be pivotal for these freshmen to really step up because they've played such a huge role for the Hoosiers.
Right, and both of these teams, both Michigan State and Indiana, had heartbreaking losses last year in the tournament. Indiana lost in overtime to Virginia Tech here in Bloomington, whereas Michigan State got taken down in the first round. They lost in PKs in that one in the first round as they were having a great season going forward, but a good foul call here, a foul drawn here by Corey Thomas in the good position. See it again, Corey Thomas making sure he's got the foot on the ball and gets taken down by Krolicki from behind. Krolicki not too happy about that one. This is a dangerous spot here for Mason Toy to take advantage of and see if Indiana can get back on the board and try to equalize.
If you're Mason Toy here, what's your approach?
Well, from that spot, you're trying to look to go back post, trying to find Grant Lillard, Timmy Mel.
It's sent in to Grant Lillard, gets his head on that one. Up for Dorsey, off another head, and just over the net. Andrew Gutman, like many Hoosiers, calling and claiming that was off of Jimmy Haig.
See it again, they went to Grant Lillard at that back post. Haig was off his line, and then Dorsey and Gutman both got into it on there. Dorsey trying to send it to the opposite corner. Gutman just trying to tip it over Haig's hands, and Haig tipped it out, but now a corner kick for the Hoosiers.
Swartz to take this in-swinger. Sends it to the middle of the box, and it's cleared out by Pimlott. Now to the top of the box. Poncho can't control, and now DeJuan Jones can work the counter. They've got numbers. Krolicki here. One-on-one with Buckmaster. Swartz taken down by Jones. Played through for Jones, who gives it a shot just wide of the net. A pivotal opportunity for the Spartans.
And that's an ambitious shot there from Jones, but I actually really like this effort from Jones, who is streaking down that left side. He takes a rip at it, and it's close to going in, but it's also in a good spot where other players could come in like Sierakowski to tip it in. And it looked like Trey Muse might have got a touch on it out of bounds, so it will be a corner kick for the Spartans.
DeJuan Jones really showing how much he's improved in his 3 years at Michigan State. His first 2 years at the program, he really spent a lot of time on the bench, was that energy guy off the bench, as almost a super sub. But now with a elevated role, coming in second team all Big Ten and second in goals for the Spartans. Short cross is then sent to the near post. Indiana looking to clear out, and they do. Off the shoulder now of Santala. Plays it forward for Sierakowski. He's going to look into the box. A quick move, a quick shot right at the chest of Trey Muse.
I'll tell you what, Michigan State has absolutely been the better team in the first 15 minutes of this game. They've been the aggressor on both ends. Been very good defensively. Whatever Indiana has thrown at them, Indiana's really only had that one chance from that free kick just a couple minutes ago from Mason Toye. Michigan State is creating a lot of chances, and Indiana looks out of sorts in the back, and that is not something you've seen too often this season.
Mel. Send this long ball forward for Dorsey. Dorsey can't keep control, and now Watungo can do the same. Up to Sierakowski. Both teams playing a little back and forth. And now we're 15 minutes in. And Jacob, what are the keys moving forward for both sides?
Obviously, Indiana is they're gonna have to start pressing up a little more, start to be more aggressive, but they don't want to get too stupid with it. They want to stay smart, keep their line at the back, make sure they're strong at the back, and not let anything go through yet again, as they did in the first 2 minutes of this game. Let a great header from Sierakowski find the back of the net. But they're really gonna have to start to press up, pressure that back line, and try to make them make mistakes.
Gutman on the ball, a key turnover. With the 1-2 with Thomas, now up to Pancho. Pancho creating space, tries to chip this one forward, and another corner kick for the Hoosiers.
And that's a great job by Andrew Gutman right there to take the step, lay it off to Thomas, and Thomas with a nice job, the little 1-2 right back to Gutman. We'll see it again here. Gutman has a great ball into Pancho right here, and then Pancho does the rest to earn the corner.
Mason Toye, the freshman from New Jersey, named Big Ten Freshman of the Year. He'll take this corner as we see a little bit of a talking to coming down to Griffin Dorsey and Brad Santala.
I talked about how this was going to get physical, and it's already getting physical between Griffin Dorsey and Michael Pimlott in the middle there.
Toye now to send in this in-swinger to the middle of the box, and Jimmy Haig is there.
Not any trouble at all there for Jimmy Haig, the Big Ten goalkeeper of the year for the Michigan State Spartans, the junior coming out, having a great season, 54 saves on the season, 12 goals allowed, and 11 shutouts to go along with that.
Jimmy Haig, an interesting case, spent most of his high school career playing center back and just got pushed over to the goalkeeper position, and he's been arguably one of the best in the nation. Right,
him and one of his best friends, they both played kind of split time in that goalkeeper position, and then he started to shoot up at that. He's 6'4" right now. Him and his best friend started to play that goalkeeper position. His best friend was a little bit shorter, so they ended up switching, and now he's playing very well in that goalkeeper position.
Pancho tries to send this low cross in the box. It's cleared out by Watungu. Frankie Moore now to Griffin Dorsey. Moore and Dorsey playing a little 1-2. Dorsey pushing it out wide. And a big takedown coming from Connor Corrigan. That's going to go out of play. The Fishers, Indiana native using his aggression.
Yeah, Griffin Dorsey's going to try to draw the foul here, but Corrigan does a nice job making sure he's angled so he can stab in there, get the ball first, and get the ball out of bounds. Trevor Swartz is going to have a long throw in here, so it acts as almost like a corner. Trevor Swartz taking those corners from that same side. So he's going to try to get it into the box and near the 6-yard line.
Swartz up to Lillard, who heads it forward, and Haig is there once again. Haig now going to look to push the tempo. Michigan State switching sides here. as Jones controls it in the midfield, and a nice play by Poncho as Reese Buckmaster now has it. Up to Dorsey. Played forward for Buckmaster. He's going to look to cross this to the top of the box. No one is there, but then there's Corey Thomas off the volley.
And not a terrible chance from Corey Thomas from the top of the 18. I mean, he had time in front of him. He possibly could have taken a touch, but that Michigan State back line was right in front of him. So a smart play there to try to get it on there. It was a nice ball played in by Buckmaster. Went all the way through the back line. Thomas just putting a one-timer on it. Couldn't quite get around it.
Off of Thomas's head. Now Sierakowski going to fight with Gutman for this. Gutman back to Lillard, and Indiana can reset. And that Gutman-Lillard pairing is something you've been hearing for a long time here at Indiana and a long time in the past, both part of that Chicago Fire Academy, and they speak highly of each other all the time.
Absolutely, only separated by 1 year. Both are from Hinsdale, Illinois, played for the Chicago Fire Academy, so they've played a lot of soccer together, and obviously playing here at Indiana, one of the best backlines in the nation. Toy trying to be found up top by his teammates, but one of the best backlines in the nation. They work very well together. Both of them get up there in the offensive third and try to make something happen. Andrew Gutman more specifically, but Grant Lillard is going to become very important in this matchup, heading that back line, but also in those set pieces we've already seen just a little bit ago.
Grant Lillard again on the ball. Up to Poncho. Drops it off for Swartz, but he can't keep control with the efforts of Giuseppe Barone. And Michigan State can reset on possession. Long ball forward to Ken Krolicki, but Reese Buckmaster is there. And Ken Krolicki, an interesting case. Grew up in Japan, actually, and then came over when he was in high school around age 14, when his parents chose to switch career and move into the United States.
Yeah, his dad got a new job in the United States, spent the first 14 years of his life in Japan, was acclimated to the Japanese lifestyle. Coming to America, he talked about how he didn't really know what high school was, what high school sports were. His family never played sports in high school, so coming in, he had to get acclimated to the United States, to how the sport culture worked, especially in high school, and obviously doing very well for Michigan State now.
Toy now using his speed, gets by Watungo. A big chance, dropped off for Thomas at the top of the box, can't keep control for too long. Dropped off to Swartz with a big rip, and parried away by Jimmy Haig.
And that right there is why Jimmy Haig is the Big Ten goalkeeper of the year. Trevor Swartz got a rip on this one from the right foot. You'll see it again here. Great play by Corey Thomas just to drop it off. Swartz tees it up, and he sent that one to the upper 90, but Haig gets to it with the right hand.
Thomas with a struggle there to keep control. Does a good job of just boxing out and leaving it for Swartz. Almost like, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let you take this.
Really, this Indiana team, a very physical team, very strong team. They're able to do that, box people out, and play the smart play.
Swartz now with the in-swinger. To the middle of the box, Haig punches it out, and Krolicki gives it a clearance. Poncho now sees the room by Swartz. Poncho tries to send this into the box, but it takes deflection. Giuseppe Barone can look the other way, but three Hoosiers around him.
This Indiana team really starting to get momentum on their side. The first 15, 20 minutes were really on Michigan State's side. After that goal, Indiana started to settle down, get the possession going, and they're getting a lot of chances as of late.
A quick turnover with Giuseppe Barone on the ball. Barone to Sierakowski. Pimlott. Back up and sent forward. A nice through ball with tough defense coming from Trey Muse and Grant Lillard.
Yeah, it was really an interesting decision there to see Trey Muse come all the way out there. Obviously, Grant Lillard doing a great job defending, but he came out there and it looks like they might have called either offsides or a foul call as Indiana got the free kick coming back, but Trey Muse doing a nice job making the smart play, coming out there, picking off the ball, and then being able to clear it away.
here in the Elite Eight. Both these teams vying for a chance in the Final Four in Philadelphia, the College Cup. Indiana looking to make their 19th College Cup in program history.
They're at 18 right now. Haven't been there since 2012. As they haven't even made it past the round of 16 since 2012. Obviously, they made it here.
Jones with a little bit of fancy feet, but not really much movement. Tries to chip Reese Buckmaster, but he ain't playing those games.
Now, Reese Buckmaster, a midfielder throughout high school, came to Indiana, got called on to play right back, and has done a tremendous job growing in that position, especially this year when Jordan Klein went down.
Corrigan now with a throw-in. To the near post off of Grant Lillard. Barone chipped forward for Corrigan. He's got a chance for a pivotal cross here, but Buckmaster once again making a pivotal play.
Now making sure he stayed in front, not letting anything get near in between that 6-yard, 12-yard line, and letting it go straight to Trey Muser. Indiana had every man marked. Nice job defensively there by Indiana. But now they're going to have to try to get some build-up play going towards, you see Frankie Moore there, trying to push his team up, get the team up the field, and make some build-up play to get into that final third and try to finish one of these chances that they're getting.
Thomas, back to Swartz. This matchup really looking a lot different from how it did earlier on in the season to end the regular season with that 1-1 draw. It's a much more open game.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a very tight game in the first game. Indiana was the aggressor in the first half. Michigan State the aggressor in the second half. So Michigan State has a handball there, but both teams got a PK. Obviously, the very quick goal here is Andrew Gutman dicing up some defenders.
Dicing him up indeed as he sends this cross to the near post, trying to find Griffin Dorsey. But Michael Watungo is there, the sophomore out of Rochester Hills, Michigan.
That was a great clearance right there by Trevor Swartz, because Michigan State was starting to get numbers up the field, starting to streak down the field. But how about Andrew Gutman? Using his speed down that left flank from his left back position. He is one of the most dynamic players in all of the nation, just because he can defend so well, and then he can push up and get into that offensive third and make things happen.
And Gutman's really a story of improvement as well. We talked about Corey Thomas earlier about how he improved all year, but Gutman has become so much more efficient. He actually has the exact same amount of shots as he did last year, but he has 6 on the season this year and only 1 the year before.
Yeah, like we talked about a little bit earlier, really worked on his shot in the offseason. Didn't have to work on his defense as much because he was already a great defender throughout his sophomore year. Coming into his junior year, wanted to be a bit more of an offensive threat. And obviously he's shown that, making sure he gets his chances closer to goal. And he has 4 assists on the season as well. So he's getting the ball across the net and not just putting it on the net. That time right there, stepping up, and not too smart of a foul. He knows it, and the Indiana fans not too happy about that one as Krolicki going down, but Gutman earns the yellow.
We've seen Andrew Gutman be aggressive all season long, not only in the attack, but with some hard fouls at times.
Yeah, that one, Krolicki does a nice job to sell it a little bit, but Gutman definitely coming in way too fast, a little bit out of control, and came right into Krolicki, who was just standing still. So a definite foul call, and he earns the yellow for it.
And now with this restart coming on Michigan State's side, it's certainly an appropriate time to appreciate how Michigan State themselves is also a historic program that compares somewhat to Indiana. Of course, from 1962 to 1969, made a consistent NCAA tournament appearances. There's a little bit of a gap, but recently, with 2 Elite Eight runs back in 2013 and 2014, has really started to improve as a program. Toy now, top of the box, pushing forward. Tries to cross this one in, but Watungo is there again. Stout as ever.
That's really how you can describe all of this Michigan State back line, as Buckmaster trying to pick that one off, going straight to Sarakowski.
Toy tries to gain control. He's taken down by Watungo.
And Indiana, they really like this spot for those restarts. Most notably, Trevor Swartz taking it exactly from this spot in the Big Ten logo. We'll see it again here. Mason Toy doing a very nice job coming back to it and then just turning immediately, drawing the foul, throwing his body out there. He gets the foul, and this is a very good spot for Trevor Schwartz. Found Timmy Mel earlier in the season against Kentucky on that back post. Just looped it over right inside the 6-yard box and got the goal.
That certainly has been the tendency from Schwartz, who's going to look to swing this just to the back post. Schwartz, a guy who's really stepped up in a pivotal role after Gutjahr's injury. Near post cross, out to Pancho. Michigan State makes the clearance. And now Barone has it. Up to Jones. And Schwartz chests this one out.
Eddie, I talked about after the first corner that Indiana earned that this Indiana team is really going to have to take advantage of these set pieces, these free kicks that they're getting in the offensive third, because they're not going to get too much from build-up play. Obviously, they have a good offense. Throughout the season, they had a good offense, but this is a Michigan State defense that is very comparable to the Indiana defense, where they don't let too much get past them, and they're a very strong defense. So they're really going to have to take advantage of these set plays if they want to try to find an equalizer and come back into this game.
Schwartz knocks that out of play. Indiana, a program with 8 national championships, looking forward to the College Cup, trying to find their 9th, the quest for 9 per se. Do you think there's a chance Indiana might be looking forward?
I don't think they are, because they are a team that they've talked about it all season. They focus on the game at hand, and if they win a game, then they focus on the game ahead. They never look too far ahead. Obviously, it's in the back of their minds. They know what is at stake, but especially now being down 1 goal, they're thinking, all right, we know what we have to do. We have to focus. We have to execute as this game goes on. Make sure our touches are right, and really execute in the final third. I don't think this is a team that is thinking too far ahead, especially with the leadership that they have.
Freitag now. A low crossing in the box, cleared out by Mel. And Gutman sending it forward for Mason Toy. Toy going to try and use his pace, but then gets a little frustrated, appears, with the physicality. We're going to see a yellow card directed on that far side. Intrigued to see what that was for.
Looked like one of the Spartans' defenders were arguing a little bit. So it looks like it was John Freitag who earned the yellow card there, the right back for the Spartans. Must have been saying something going down the field to the head ref. So 2 yellow cards, 1 for each team, to Andrew Gutman and John Freitag now.
And something you mentioned at the very onset was the physicality that was going to come into this matchup. 2 Big Ten rivals that have faced off before. Indiana mentioning how much they want revenge. Well, it's getting a little chippy here at Jerry Yeagley Field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that one wasn't even because of physicality. Freitag was just saying something going down the field to the head ref, and head ref wasn't having any of it.
Big turnover here on the other side. Barone with plenty of room, going to give it a rip from the top of the box, just wide of Trey Muse and the goal mount.
And that shot is going to be so hard to get past Trey Muse at 6'4", spreading out, using his body. He's gotten to a lot of shots before, as we see Spencer Glass come into this one.
And now we're going to send it down to the sideline with Mary Kate Hamilton with a little bit more on what's going on.
Thanks, guys. Of course, team chemistry is important in any sport, and players often refer to their teammates as brothers. But for the Barone brothers, soccer really is a family business. All 4 Barone brothers either have played or are currently playing for Michigan State. Giuseppe Barone has had an incredibly good game here, and although these players were not recruited because they are related, but rather for their talent, it certainly doesn't hurt to have a little bit of brotherly love out on the pitch. We've seen Michigan State play as a unit here tonight, and it'll be interesting to see how their team chemistry continues to affect the game moving forward. Now back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mary Kate. As Dorsey has the ball now, you mentioned that brotherly love. The city of brotherly love is where everyone's intending to go after this one. Philadelphia home to the College Cup, as Indiana and Michigan State facing off here in this Elite 8. Reese Buckmaster taken down aggressively, but no call. And Pancho knocking it out of play.
That's where that physical play is starting to come into factor here, as Buckmaster got sandwiched between 2 guys, got taken down, no call, and probably a good no call, as he really didn't have a chance to go after the ball. It was a little bit heavy of a touch there. Now Mel's going to get called for a foul here on Sarakowski, just leaning in a little bit on top of him.
Now with all the pressure on this matchup, is the ref's going to have a little bit of a a conversation with Corey Thomas for his physicality. With all the pressure on this matchup with Philadelphia ahead, Indiana in a position they've never faced before, trailing for the first time all year, trailing for the first time ever, in a potential opportunity to lose their first ever home quarterfinal, going 14-0 in all home quarterfinals. What do you think's going through their head right now?
Well, obviously, especially for seniors like Grant Lillard and Rashad Hyacinth who are on the bench, but all these other players, some of the other players have been there before. The freshmen obviously haven't, so they've only known ways of winning.
Into the box now, a short cross for Jones. But Trey Muse lets that go forward, and Indiana's able to clear. Toy trying to maintain control.
As I was saying before, it'll be interesting to see how these freshmen respond because they haven't had to deal with playing from behind. They only know playing from above, playing ahead, playing tied. And so that might play well and be a benefactor for this Indiana team because they could be a bit ignorant, be very confident going in and try to get some touches going forward to get into that final third, try to play from behind. But then you also have the leadership from guys like Grant Lillard and Francesco Moore and Corey Thomas, who are all throughout the field talking to these guys throughout, a very well-communicated bunch. And these guys, they have been able to play through adversity, and this is definitely going to be the most adversity they've had all season.
Now of note, a recent substitution, the second Barone brother, like Mary Kate mentioned earlier, Hunter Barone has checked into the game. He'll be playing out on that left wing by Reese Buckmaster. And then Spencer Glass coming into the game for Indiana, looking to use what Coach Yeagley says is one of the best crosses in the nation.
Yeah, Spencer Glass coming in, going to that left wing, playing very well the last few games. He drew the PK last game for Francesco Moore to finish it off, and credit Francesco Moore to find Spencer Glass streaking down the field on the counterattack from a corner kick as they won that one 2-1 against New Hampshire to get to this Elite Eight round against Michigan State. But Spencer Glass is actually playing with a broken wrist, and he's been playing with a broken wrist for a couple of games now, as you'll see number 21 with the cast on his right hand.
Talk about grit, as we're seeing a gritty matchup between the Spartans and the Hoosiers. 11 minutes left to go in this first half. Indiana trying to respond after that early goal from Ryan Sierakowski. Ball forward to Toy. Toy double team, tries to get into the box, finds Glass, drops it off for Poncho, whose shot is deflected out by Michael Watungo.
Spencer Glass showing that he's not afraid to get into it, even with that broken wrist, going up against Jimmy Fiskus, trying to get around to the ball, but Fiskus boxes him out, making sure that it goes out for a goal kick. But this Indiana team, they've played so well in the last 10 minutes of the first half throughout the season. So now with 10.5 to go, it'll be interesting to see how much pressure they really put on that Michigan State back line. If they try to get the equalizer before the half, or if they're just going to try to play some smart soccer and take what comes to them as the game goes on.
Thomas gains possession off the goal kick and leaves it for Gutman. Gutman blowing by multiple defenders, using his pace and trying to find Austin Poncho. Is not ready for that one. Mel to Dorsey. A quick fall from Corrigan, and Dorsey's got space, but a great recovery coming from Hunter Barone.
Unfortunately for Dorsey, he just took a little bit heavy of a touch there. Corrigan went down, and he would have been able to break towards that corner.
Chipped up to Toy. He can't keep it. Thomas now. Play starting to stall a little bit as both teams getting what seems to be a little tired. Dorsey now cutting into the box. He's going to give it a rip from his left foot. Off the rebound is Toy, and that's parried away once again by the Big Ten goalkeeper of the year.
That's the best chance of the game right there for the Indiana Hoosiers. Griffin Dorsey doing a tremendous job here, cutting in towards the box, getting it to his left foot, putting it on frame, and then Mason Toy trying to finish it off, but couldn't quite get it. Jimmy Haig with a tremendous thigh save, you might call it, to get it out of bounds. But the job is not done for this Michigan State back line as Indiana has a chance from the corner.
Toy now with the in-swinger. To the near post, Gutman off the post and cleared out. And the frustration in the face of Andrew Gutman, who just could not find the back of the net.
You can hear the crowd just going in all at this one. hits the back post, so close to finding the back of the net. That would have been Andrew Grootman's 7th goal of the season. This Indiana team getting very close to finding the back of the net. And if they do that to end out this first half, this Indiana crowd will absolutely erupt.
Jacob, just take a moment. This is impeccable soccer.
Absolutely.
Between two great teams.
Yeah, you see Jimmy Hague right there, the 11 shutouts on the season, 54 saves. Now you add on a couple more saves, just a great save right there on Mason Toy. And then Andrew Grootman almost finding the back of the net, but this Indiana crowd is absolutely enormous right now. I haven't seen a bigger one all season as Notre Dame drew out 4,000. There's well over that here in this one.
And if you're Indiana, you're going to be looking at that crowd to carry you through some of these moments, because it's got to be genuinely frustrating trying to get beyond this back line and beyond that goalkeeper at Jimmy Hague.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jimmy Hague, obviously the Big Ten goalkeeper of the year for a reason. He is showing it why against one of the best attacks in the nation. Indiana, they get shots on goal. They get shots in general, second in the nation for both of those. So this Indiana team, they get shots up there. They're a great defensive team. And now Michigan State, already with the 1-goal lead, they can set back a little bit and really focus on that defense to make sure Indiana can't get the equalizer.
Now, if you're Michigan State, do you want to set back? Do you want to kind of sit back and park the bus, per se, a little bit?
You definitely don't want to park the bus. You want to stay more balanced. Maybe in FIFA terms, you go to a bit more of a defensive set for your team, because you know this Indiana team is going to throw anything they have at you. But now at the end of the half, you're really going to have to be smart defensively. Now coming out in the second half, you might get a little bit more aggressive because you have a lot more time to work with.
Poncho now on the attack. He's got numbers in front. A move out to his left foot. Tries to get beyond the defense of John Freitag, but a strong dispossession from the Michigan State defender.
Timmy Mel with a great touch there, knowing where Sarakowski is and then dropping him to the ground. Not too often you see a crossover in soccer and dropping a player breaking his ankles.
Ankles, Jacob. Ankles. Thomas now in the midfield. Playing this long for Buckmaster. Off the head of Krolicki. Indiana really putting as many men forward as they can in these final minutes of the first half.
Yeah, they definitely want to go into half, try to get that equalizer goal, because going into half down a goal, they're only going to have 45 minutes to cut into that lead and try to come back to get to that 19th College Cup.
This is played out off of Michael Pimlott for what will be an Indiana corner. And this game is really resemblant of the approach Michigan State had in their last matchup against Western Michigan. They found a late goal at the end of the first half that, if you talk to Hunter Barone, he mentioned just how pivotal it was to get that goal before half to tie things up with Western Michigan momentum-wise. In-swinger from Glass to the far post, trying to find Timmy Mel, who gets called for a foul there, just a little too aggressive.
Yeah, it looked like Timmy Mel was on the back of Fiskus and took him down to the ground. But you mentioned that Western Michigan State matchup. Those two played earlier in the season. And so those two teams, similar to these two teams, they were very comfortable with each other going into it. They knew that game. And so going into it, they were going to be comfortable. And Michigan State came out on top. They got the winner in the second half.
And something that's important to appreciate here is how Michigan State is not scared at all of Indiana. Indiana getting a lot of praise coming this season, breaking loads of records, coming in unbeaten and yet to have trailed before today. But Michigan State facing the tall task. They're number 7 in the country themselves. They're an impeccable program, and they're ready to prove themselves that they're the best team in the Big Ten.
Oh, absolutely, and they shouldn't be afraid of this Indiana team. Both these teams were 5-0-3 in the Big Ten. Obviously, they tied the last regular season game. And this Michigan State team, they have just as much talent as this Indiana team. They just lost a couple of close games, whereas Indiana hasn't lost a game yet.
Mel with a long rip from way out wide from the Big Ten logo. Takes a deflection, and Dorsey can't get to it.
As I was saying, this Michigan State team, they're set up very similar to this Indiana team. A strong defense, a very strong core in the midfield, and good attackers up top like Sarakowski and DeJuan Jones. So these two teams, very similar. And so Michigan State, coming into this game, they're going to have a lot of confidence, as they also had a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to win that regular season matchup.
Glass with a beautiful cross in the box. Can't find Toy, but Dorsey's still there. Miss one freshman, find the other. Buckmaster now at the Big Ten logo. Up to Poncho, chip forward for Thomas. He's got space in the box. A low shot deflected out by Haig. Gutman now to Lillard. Up to Glass, who's gonna look to send in another cross. Tries to find Toy, and that's cleared out.
I'll tell you what, Corey Thomas has been very smart on the ball, especially in the final third, just trying to toe poke that one past Jimmy Haig, but Jimmy Haig doing a tremendous job back there between the posts.
Throw into Poncho, chips it above his defender, and it's cleared out. And Michigan State can look to counter if they want, but Gutman with a key turnover. Gutman now looking to the far post. Above everyone's head, and now Dorsey can control. Buckmaster at the logo. Far post to Grant Lillard, who gets up there and knocks it out of play. Seems like every time Grant Lillard can get his head on the ball, I get a little excited.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. The 6'4" defender getting in there, a huge target to find. And surprisingly enough, that one just a little bit high for Grant Lillard, but Grant Lillard in this game, he's gonna have that adrenaline going. It could possibly be his last game, especially now being down 1 goal. He's gonna have that extra edge to push forward and make sure to try to lead his team back to victory here at the home field.
Now Michigan State making another substitution. They'll be taking out Giuseppe Barone and bringing in Michael Miller, the freshman out of Grand Blanc, Michigan. And no, not Michael Miller of the Bloomington Herald-Times.
Michael Miller on the season throughout 6 games. He's got 4 shots, so not too much of an offensive threat, but a very good midfielder coming in for Barone.
Ball up to Santala. Finds Sierakowski. And Michigan State can start to get bodies forward. It's been a while since they've been on the offensive side.
I talked about how Indiana really started to find their own, settle into their groove, and their chances are coming. It's kind of reminiscent of a little bit of that Penn State game in the Big Ten tournament in the quarterfinal where they were getting tons of shots on goal. Indiana not finding as many shots against Michigan State, but they are creating chances and getting good chances.
Corrigan now. Cross right into Muse. Not much of an issue for him, and he'll look to send it out with a minute left to go. Indiana pushing forward on Thomas's feet. Poncho. With room in front of him, takes a tough touch and then gives it to Glass. Chipped up and cleared out by Miller. Moore to Thomas. Thomas with a pretty move, another pretty move, and a rip! Almost by Haig again! Haig getting his hands on another tough shot and showing just how stellar he is.
Michigan State was the aggressor in the first part of this half. Now Indiana has really turned it on, especially in the last 15 minutes of this half, trying to find that equalizer. But Jimmy Haig is standing up to the task right now, doing a tremendous job.
Mel trying to find more, couldn't get it to him, and it's cleared out now by Michigan State. 20 seconds left to go in this first half. Indiana looking to just establish themselves on the scoreboard before the end of half. Throw in cleared out again by Michigan State, and the clock will tick down.
3, 2, 1.
And with that, we see ourselves the end of the first half. Ryan Sierakowski putting Michigan State on the board within the first few minutes, really catching most of us off guard. Jacob, what'd you see?
Well, you see the Indiana, they're getting chances after that goal of Michigan State. The tremendous start out to the game, just 3 minutes into the game, they get a goal. You see it right there from Sierakowski.
Impeccable matchup here in the first half, and we'll have more great action in the second. 1-0 Michigan State. Ladies and gentlemen, to Jerry Yeagley Field. And Jacob, what did we see in the first half?
An extremely eventful first half. You're going to see some Indiana highlights here. They really turned it on in the second part of the first half, but it all started with that Michigan State goal to start out the first 2 minutes of the game. They got the 1-goal lead, but Indiana really turned it on in the second half, getting some momentum on their side. It really set Michigan State back in their defensive set, and Michigan State, they're going to have to be more aggressive in the second half because they cannot let Indiana keep getting chances, getting to Jimmy Haig, and hats off to Jimmy Haig. He is having a tremendous game with 7 saves right now, came into this one with 54.
Now, when you're talking about the performance in the first half, a lot of it had to do with the tactical decisions made by both sides. Two great coaches in Damon Rensing and Coach Yeagley, both picking up their 100th win for their respective coaching staffs and coaching tenures at their program. And actually, this Hoosier staff was named the United Soccer Coaches Midwest Region Staff of the Year.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, Coach Yeagley getting a lot of recognition throughout the years here at Indiana. His father, Jerry Yeagley, the field being named after him. But then you also have Brian Masonoff, Kevin Robeson, and Zach Brown on the bench there for this Indiana Hoosier team, being named the coaching staff of the year for the Midwest region. And they are the #2 team in the nation, so you got to think that the coaching staff has a little bit to do with that.
You have to assume that Coach Yeagley will have some interesting adjustments for the second half here as Indiana is looking to get back on the score sheet, as we're just going to await Coach Yeagley in his interview with Mary Kay to see what those adjustments might be.
Coach, obviously the first time this team has trailed all season, how do you think they responded?
Well, I think the 5 minutes after that, it wasn't great. Michigan State started off really sharp and created a couple good chances, but I thought the last 25 was pretty comprehensive by our guys, and you know, we're putting shots on frame, we're there, a couple of balls bounced around the 6, tempo, rhythm, we're on top of them. It's just a matter of time. So our goal is to continue to do what we did the last 25 minutes and find the equalizer, be patient, and then look for the winner.
What do you think this team needs to do to find that equalizer?
Just continue to be aggressive and instill our game on them.
All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you very much, Mary Kay. And those are some interesting words from Coach Yeagley. It really sounds like he's pretty pleased with his team's performance. Toy now in control, sends this one into the middle of the box. Poncho can't get to that one, but Gutman now with a rip and just misses the net wide. A huge volley from Andrew Gutman, and boy, we could have had ourselves another impeccable start to a half.
I mean, you could see Andrew Gutman lining this one up. He wanted to get it to the outside of his left foot, puts a rip into this one, and just a foot wide of the net. And you can see Haig there, a sigh of relief as he rolls over, gets back up, and making sure he doesn't have to make yet another save to start out this second half. But Coach Yeagley talked about this Indiana team playing very well in the last 25 minutes of the first half. Doesn't want to change too much going into the second half, but they will have to play into a fact that Michigan State is going to make some adjustments of their own, as they were giving up a lot of chances for Indiana. 12 shots, 7 of those on goal in the first half for Indiana. So they're getting the chances, and Michigan State is going to have to make adjustments of their own defensively, even with the 1-goal lead.
Well, what do you think those adjustments are?
I honestly think they have to get a bit more, go up a bit more offense, put some more pressure on that Indiana back line. They were very aggressive to start out in the first 15 minutes, and then they started to set back, send more defenders back. And when you do that, you get really tired playing defense all the time, and you really start to see at the end of the first half there in the last 5 minutes that back line was getting tired, giving up a lot of chances to the Indiana attack.
Grant Lillard with a strong closeout, and then that's out of play off DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones really adding a lot of pace to this Michigan State side. He played a pivotal role in the first half for Michigan State. It'll be interesting to see how he can get involved in the second half, trying to help Michigan State add to their lead.
Well, DeJuan Jones was the whole reason how Sierakowski got to the ball in the box in such a great position. DeJuan Jones went to that flank, played it in, a great ball crossing in towards the box, and Sierakowski finished it off with a great header that found the back of the net. But for Indiana, I really think Francesco Moore has to step up in the middle of the field. We really haven't said his name a whole lot, and he's such an integral part to this Indiana team. The first team All Big Ten player for this Indiana team. His goal is to get second team. He got first team, but now he's really going to have to show why he was a first team All Big Ten, especially here in the second half, down a goal.
You mentioned Frankie Moore. He's a gentleman that we, as a media corps, have been harping upon at the beginning of the year, how he's so underappreciated, under-respected here because he plays a role that doesn't really fill the stat sheet, and then Big Ten rolls through, gives him first team Big Ten, something he didn't even expect coming into this season. He said his goal for the year was second team Big Ten.
Right.
So he's been pivotal for the Hoosiers, and you'd have to think he's pivotal moving forward as Andrew Gutman works off the turnover. He's got space now. Makes a quick cut, push it towards the box, and then a shot deflected off of Brad Santala. Strong defense off that Andrew Gutman counter.
Some people might think that's a little bit selfish on Gutman's part, but it's honestly a smart play. He only had Toy out to his left. Poncho was coming into his right, but there were 5 defenders in front of him. If he plays it over to Toy, Toy's not going to be able to do anything with the ball. So it's smart of Gutman to be patient, let the space open up in front of him, and then take the chance that he got and get it towards Haig, as Spencer Glass being very aggressive going down here on the track.
Yeah, he looked like he got thrown to Kalamazoo. What a huge aggressive attempt from Spencer Glass. But this team has to remain aggressive. That's exactly what Coach Yeagley said at halftime to our own Mary Kane Hamilton, and that's how they're starting off this half.
Absolutely. We saw it at the very start. Gutman got his chance. Then Gutman playing very good defense, sprinting up the field, getting another chance. And now this is great to see from Mason Toy, putting pressure on that back line. And now Haig, with a little bit of a blooper ball, can send that Indiana offense up in the attack.
Indiana likes to play that high press at times. What it does is tries to force the defense to make mistakes. Got that mistake there off the turnover. Buckmaster out wide. Goes 1-on-2, gets around a defender, up to Pancho, who can't keep control, but Watungo, under pressure and under duress, sends that out for a corner kick.
Very smart play by Watungo. Had no time to turn around, try to get it to the sideline, just tips it out of the back line, making sure the pressure is relieved for just a little bit, but now they're going to have to be very smart, make sure they mark their men, especially Grant Lillard and Timmy Mell and Andrew Gutman, who really have a knack for getting to the ball.
Now Spencer Glass is going to take this corner with Trevor Swartz on the bench. This in-swinger far post off the head of Timmy Mell. Couldn't really get much on that.
It's really amazing to see how this back line for Indiana, they always like to move up, get on those set pieces, and what a header there by Andrew Gutman to keep it away from DeJuan Jones streaking down the field.
Indiana really falling asleep on that back line there off the goal kick, trying to find DeJuan Jones with a long ball. Luckily, Andrew Gutman using his pace to get back there. A big turnover now as Michigan State can work the counter. Krolicki in the midfield. Taking his time now for Santala to Freitag, and now Michigan State can reset. "39 minutes left to go here in this second half. Michigan State still leads 1-0 off of a Ryan Sierakowski goal within minutes of this matchup.
Eddie, we were talking about at the break how we don't think this game is going to end 1-0 just because of how aggressive Indiana has been. They were getting a lot of chances on goal at the end of the first half, and now they're going to try to transition that over to the second half. This Indiana offense is just too good to let a one-goal lead finish that way.
Jones now on the ball, moving his feet, trying to get around Andrew Gutman, but Andrew Gutman staying stout, staying strong. And this comes after advantage is played, so that'll be a yellow card to Timmy Mell, adding to the foul count here in this chippy matchup between Indiana and Michigan State.
Yeah, this was a tough tackle from Timmy Mell to go in on the Michigan State offender. I believe it was Krolicki who got taken down by Timmy Mell. So now Timmy Mell and Andrew Gutman, two men on the back line for this Indiana team, both on yellow cards. They're going to have to be careful going in throughout the game. They can't be as aggressive, because if they would happen to get an equalizer, possibly move on to this game, if they get another yellow card, they would be out of the next game.
And this all comes down to mental fortitude now for those two, and that's something they've shown all year, but they've never been in this much of an adversity-based situation. Mel back to Muse. Now, Jacob, this is a huge matchup, of course. It's number 2 versus number 7. How do you think the freshmen have handled the pressure as Mason Toy tries to get this one in as it's sent out for a corner kick?
I think Griffin Dorsey has had an absolutely inspired game on that right flank. He's played very well, cutting into the box, creating chances. I'd like to see Mason Toy create a little bit more, come back to the ball, try to make something happen near the top of the box or in the middle of the field, then transition it towards that box. Mason Toy hasn't had a whole lot going for him, but he might have a chance here on that outer edge of the 18 if the ball gets through.
In swinger from Glass. Gutman gets up to that one. It's deflected out. Pancho off the volley. Gutman trying to get to that, just not aware of where the ball is. Now Glass. Gutman. Dorsey. A fight at the top of the box, and it's cleared out. Jones now one-on-one with Buckmaster. Jones gonna try and use his pace, but Buckmaster again, the midfielder converted to a right back, using his defensive awareness to make that play.
If DeJuan Jones might have, I'm sure he did look up and see where Trey Muse was at, but Trey Muse was pushing out quite a bit. He might have had a chance to take a rip from midfield and try to get one over the head of Trey Muse, but working down the field, working that pace, Reese Buckmaster doing a very nice job to get it away.
Spencer Glass trying to create space for a cross, but he cannot get by John Freitag. So that'll be another corner. And the conversation we were having before about the freshman class, I pointed out because Indiana really dominated by freshmen. Michigan State not playing a single one. Michael Miller, the only one who came off the bench for a short period of time.
This Michigan State team, they got the 1-goal lead, showing that seniority playing a factor into this. They're going to have those leaders step up into this one with the Indiana attack coming at them.
The freshman Mason Toy with the in-swinger to the far post, just over the net. Almost looked like he was trying to score that himself.
And we've seen that a lot from Mason Toy this year. He puts a lot of curvature on the ball along with Trevor Schwartz, and they're just trying to make things happen. And Mason Toy probably pressing a little bit, trying to make something happen, as he hasn't had his best game of the season going into this one. But he just needs to be patient. That's where that freshman mentality could be playing into effect here, trying to make too much of something happen. Just has to be patient, let the game come to him, and his teammates will be able to find him.
Baroni there. Tries to fight off Spencer Glass and can't. Frankie Moore up to Poncho. Indiana with plenty of room. Glass now on this near side. A little low cross trying to find Mason Toy, but Glass doesn't lead him very far. But Indiana gets the ball back. Thomas tries to make a move, but can't get by his defender. Moore tries to get that out wide to Spencer Glass, just leads him a little too far.
And Frankie Moore was absolutely not happy with Spencer Glass there, because Glass was just standing still on the sideline. He wanted Glass to make that run to the corner flag. That's why Glass wasn't able to get to it. Moore was expecting him to make that run, and Glass didn't make that run, and Moore gave him an earful right after it.
Lillard now on the ball to Thomas. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because Spencer Glass, not normally a starter, not playing starter minutes for this Hoosier roster, so a bit of a miscommunication, maybe a lack of chemistry on that one.
It could be, and he had a great first half, came in off the bench as Griffin Dorsey draws a foul here in a good spot. Indiana crowd finally cheering about something, but Spencer Glass making a lot of chances in the first half, and he's had some chances here, creating chances in the second half, but that is where that miscommunication could come in handy. He doesn't play as much time on the field with players like Frankie Moore, but Moore feeling that this could be the last game of the season. He wants to make sure everything is being executed well for this Indiana team to get the chances they need.
Now Spencer Glass setting up on this restart. 34 minutes left to go in the second half. 1-0 Michigan State. Glass to the far post and knocked out of play by Brad Santala, which will set up another corner kick for Indiana.
I'll tell you what, Coach Yeagley has to be happy with what his team is doing out here on the field right now. The last 25 minutes of the first half, they were putting the pressure on, and Michigan State really has not had any chances whatsoever on the offensive third. Indiana pushing up a lot of pressure on that Michigan State back line.
Toy down 1-0, sending this in-swinger in. Off of multiple bodies, and cleared out by Michigan State to the foot of Mostyn. Poncho gives it a rip. And now Spencer Glass will look to reset things with 33:45 left to go in this second half. Dorsey on the ball. To Thomas, who tries to get by Watungo, but Watungo has just been so impeccable for that defensive line. Gutman, a long, low rip. It doesn't even leave the ground, and now Sierakowski can look to counter. Jones out wide, one-on-one with Gutman, and Gutman is there with the recovery.
That's an incredible tackle from Andrew Gutman right there. It was 3-on-2 for the Spartans, but Indiana not done yet on the defensive end.
Mason Toy taken to the ground by DeJuan Jones. No call there as DeJuan looks to get to the end of that through ball.
What a job by Mason Toy to come all the way back from his forward position, come back to that defensive position, using his pace to get back there and making an effort at the ball.
Well, it's something Ryan Sierakowski talked about prior to this game, how they're going to look to counter on Andrew Gutman's side because they know how aggressive he is as a fullback. Michigan State has been doing that. Mason Toy, though, doing a great job recovering for his teammate. Santala now to Krolicki. Back to Santala, nice little 1-2. And Lillard is there. Gutman on the ball with 32:30 left to go in this pivotal second half. 1-0 Michigan State now. As we can't forget that early goal from Ryan Sierakowski off the cross of DeJuan Jones. Crosses it off the head of Grant Lillard. Dorsey is there. Dorsey, one of the fastest on the pitch, trying to work on the counter, but Baroni is there. Giuseppe Baroni, to be specific. Of course, you have to do that. Frankie Moore now up to Mason Toy, looking to work the counter as the crowd gets into it and Watungo clears it out.
What a ball by Frankie Moore. I talked about how he needs to be a more impactful player in the second half, turning around immediately and trying to find Mason Toy streaking down the field. But a great tackle by Watungo to get it out.
Indiana continuing to have a majority of the possession here in the second half. Pushing forward is Buckmaster. He's got space for a low cross off a body and deflected out. And that'll be another Indiana corner with 31:20 left to go.
So Indiana's going to have another corner, and Buckmaster doing a great job there. Try to get it in, but Trevor Swartz is going to check back in now for the Hoosiers. Back into that midfield.
He'll be checking in for Austin Poncho. It appears like Coach Yeagley's a fan of how Spencer Glass has played in the second half.
Really, other than that, not making that run to the corner flag where Frankie Moore got a little bit upset with him, he has had a great half this half, had a great half last half. Might as well keep that momentum going. Coach Yeagley playing to the strengths of the team right now.
Riding that hot hand is now Hunter Baroni. Also checks in for Michigan State for Pimlott. In swinger to the near post, finds the back of the net. The Indiana Hoosiers tie it 1-1 with 30:38 left to go.
We'll see it here. Trevor Swartz, no one touched that ball. Trevor Swartz just scored from the corner, and it's a 1-1 game. Unbelievable from Trevor Swartz. Comes in and immediately makes an impact off the bench.
Indiana has had a special season, and the first time they trail all year, they respond with a goal off the corner. No one touches it.
Eddie, we talked about how this team offensively is just too good. As the head ref is going to stop the clock and give a little bit of talking to. You see the Indiana faithful there. As it looked like Hunter Baroni getting a little bit upset with it. And here comes a yellow card for Hunter Baroni for complaining. Mason Toy clapping for that one. So the yellow card's coming out in this one. But what a response by Trevor Swartz to come out in this one, and the Indiana team putting up that pressure, getting those chances. But now back all squared between the two. This game is going to get extremely physical in the last 30 minutes as it's now tied 1-1.
It's going to get extremely physical. And you know what's going to play a huge part in the rest of this matchup? You heard that crowd that really has been awakened from that goal from Trevor Swartz. It'll be interesting to see how much that momentum carries them moving forward. A 1-1 game, 30 minutes left to go. Indiana, Michigan State, the winner onto the College Cup. Everything on the line. And we have seen impeccable soccer. Jacob, what are your expectations moving forward from both sides?
Well, it's already been a tremendous game, and it's only going to get better as this one goes on. And now it'll be really interesting to see how Michigan State responds to giving up that goal. They had the 1-goal lead. You see Coach Yeagley there willing his team on. But Michigan State, a very good team. Now it goes into their hands. How will they respond to the goal? Try to put one into the back of the net, or will they crumble and fall? As Indiana is putting a lot of pressure on that back of the net. And can Indiana get the winner?
And something you have to note on that prior goal, Trevor Swartz subs into the game to make that beautiful cross into the box, rather into the net. And some might call that a super sub.
I just talked about how Mason Toy, he had the cross that hit the top of the net. He's trying to make something happen, get it close to the goal. And that's exactly what Trevor Swartz did there. Trying to get it close, make something happen. He made something happen, and he got the goal.
Now talk about that physicality. Michigan State going to try and work off a Trevor Swartz foul. 28:40 left to go, 1-1. After a Sierakowski goal in the first few minutes and a Trevor Swartz cross into the back of the net off a corner. Fiskus, the leader for Michigan State, is going to have to try and rally his troops together to respond. Thomas off the turnover. Moore up to Swartz, who looks ahead. Spencer Glass now has plenty of room. Going to cross this into Toy. who can't get a touch on that one off of the chest of Watungu. A big opportunity, but Glass has it now. 28 left to go in the second half, 1-1. Thomas, some more. Indiana really packing the box now, looking to take advantage of the momentum. Gutman back and forth beyond Jones. Tries to cut towards the box, but a strong clearance. But then Gutman again, the aggressor. And out of play off Gutman.
Great play, inspired effort from Andrew Gutman. The crowd giving him a standing ovation for that one. He got taken down, stayed with it. And that's where Andrew Gutman's fitness really plays into a factor. One of the most dynamic players on the pitch at all times in that left back position, pushing up into that offensive third, making things happen. But now for Indiana, they got the equalizer. It's now 1-1. There's only 27 minutes to go. It's on their home field. The chance to get to the College Cup is on the line. They have the crowd behind them. Can they use that momentum going forward?
Dorsey off the goal kick, takes the turnover, and then re-establishes things with Buckmaster. Lillard to Gutman. Long ball forward to Toy. The freshman taken down in an advantageous spot, and just listen to that crowd.
They're into it. They've been into it since the start. Ever since they were surprised by the goal. You'll see it again here, getting caught up with Jimmy Fiskus, and that's not too often you're going to see Jimmy Fiskus may commit a foul in a position like that, where Indiana has a very good chance to get a ball in or put a shot on goal, as Mason Toy and Timmy Miller are going to have a decision to make over the ball, deciding on who wants to take this. And now Grant Lillard's going to come up there, so Mason Toy will be on top of it. We'll look to see if he wants to play this to the back post.
Reminiscent of his game winner against Wisconsin. Same spot on the pitch here. Toy feeds this low, and it's cleared out by the Michigan State back line. Forward to Frankie Moore. And he'll be called offside on that one.
Now that's really hard to get back onside when you make the run and then come back, so the offside's coming for Michigan State.
And now with a little bit more on tonight's matchup, we're going to send it to Jacob.
Well, I mean, it's 1-1. I talked about how Indiana really has to use that momentum from the crowd, but for Michigan State, they're really going to have to bear down, and more so than ever, they're going to have to push forward and put more pressure on that Indiana back line. The Indiana back line has been great ever since 25 minutes in that first half, playing through the rest of the 25 minutes. Now going into this second half, they get the goal on their side. They have the momentum. Michigan State is going to have a tough time to try to push past back that Indiana defense.
If you're head coach Damon Rensing, who are you looking to on this Michigan State side to make an impact, to try and respond?
I think the man has to be DeJuan Jones. He made the impact 2 minutes into the game, made the run to the corner, played the ball into Sarakowski, who's got the ball right there. But those two players are going to be very key going forward. DeJuan Jones, with his pace, are really going to have to use it on the outside and try to push the counterattack when they have the opportunity. Get the ball to Sarakowski and let him create some chances.
DeJuan Jones, certainly an interesting and unique story. He's from East Lansing, and he chose to stay home. He was Mr. Michigan for soccer in the state of Michigan. Chose to stay home to take care of his niece, because his niece's father passed away at a very early age, so he wanted to maintain that role in his family's life, and he's really been impactful for the Spartan team.
Obviously a big family man, staying to take care of his niece, and that's going to transfer over into a teammate aspect. A very good teammate for the Spartans, but a crucial turnover right here for Indiana to take advantage of.
Thomas tries to play Swartz through, but a little too much oomph on that one. Swartz getting aggressive, however.
Swartz and Watungu going at it.
23:50 left to go in this second half. 1-1 game between Michigan State and Indiana. And we'll see two substitutions. Austin Pancho coming in for Spencer Glass, and then DeJuan Jones coming out for Michael Marcatanini, the senior out of Ontario, Canada. Toronto FC Academy member, of course. Toronto FC in the MLS Cup final against the Sounders.
Replacing number 6, DeJuan Jones.
As I mentioned, the MLS Cup final, worth noting the loads of Indiana alumni that are going to be in that matchup. You got Will Bruin, who scored last night for the Sounders to help send them forward into the MLS Cup final. And then Eric Zavaleta of Toronto. Both huge, influential players in the MLS, and expressive of the history at this Indiana program.
Also important to note, for the College Cup, whoever moves on in this game will take on the winner of UNC and Fordham in Philadelphia. So that would be the matchup in the semifinal for either one of these teams, whoever comes out victorious.
Indiana and UNC, of course, have plenty of history together, playing in major matchups in the College Cup. As have an injury timeout here for Jimmy Fiskus, the senior captain.
That would be huge for this Michigan State defense if Jimmy Fiskus is not able to stay into this game, as he is that senior, that captain leader in the back line for Michigan State. Got banged up a little bit. We'll see it again here. Steps in there with Andrew Gutman, both of them going for the ball, and Gutman's foot looked like he banged into the knee of Jimmy Fiskus. But after that play, you saw Frankie Moore get visibly upset with the players around him who were just not moving around, and it possibly could have been because they were waiting for the whistle to blow.
Welcome back to Jerry Yeagley Field. Missed about 30 seconds of action there after a quick takedown on Jimmy Fiskus that led to an injury timeout. He's back up and running for Michigan State, which is so pivotal here with 21:50 left to go in this 1-1 game.
Absolutely. Jimmy Fiskus, like I mentioned, very comparable to Grant Lillard for their respective teams. Both captains, both leaders for their teams in that back line. It's so important to have a voice in the back line who can reach everyone, speak to everyone, and communicate very well, make sure everyone is in the right spots.
And it's so intriguing to see these two teams being almost replicable. Grant Lillard, Jimmy Fiskus, you've got Jimmy Haig and Trey Muse, Mason Toy and Ryan Sierakowski. Everyone so talented on both sides. Is now Frankie Moore working on the counter to Poncho. The overlap from Gutman into the box. A low cross just off Jimmy Haig with a pivotal save for Michigan State.
And Jimmy Haig, he was the man of the half in the first half. You see Griffin Dorsey a bit shaken up, but he's able to get up. The Indiana fans, they know it's coming. Right now, we're going to send it down to Mary Kate Hamilton.
Thanks, guys. We've said it time and time again this year, but Grant Lillard really has had a special senior season this year, and now he was named Mack Hermann Trophy semifinalist to show for it. The Mack Hermann Trophy is awarded to one female and one male collegiate soccer player in the nation each year, and it is the most prestigious award in national soccer. If Grant Lillard wins this award, he will be in good company, as 11 Hoosiers have won this award in the past, including his head coach, Todd Yeagley. As the Hoosiers have it tied up 1-1, the Hoosiers will definitely be looking to Grant to finish out this game and provide a little bit of leadership in the final minutes. Now, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mary Kate, as we see a takedown from Corey Thomas, bringing down Giuseppe Baroni in the midfield.
You can hear the Indiana fans there, as that was not much contact at all with Baroni going down, as now Sorts gets taken down in the middle of the field. Like I said, this match is going to get extremely physical. Now just 20 minutes to go, tied at 1.
Ken Kurlicki now playing it out wide to Baroni. Baroni cutting inside, and then a low rip just wide of the net.
And that's really been the first chance that Michigan State has had to get into the final third, try to test that Indiana defense. Kurlicki got it to the outside, couldn't quite make anything happen. And so Indiana just having a goal kick coming up, playing very well defensively, putting a lot of pressure on that Michigan State back line, and they're just gonna have to try to keep doing that going forward.
And Ken Kurlicki, a guy who really played a pivotal role for this team in their defeat of Virginia Tech in the first round of the tournament.
Absolutely. He had 3 assists in that one, as we see a takedown right here. Oh my goodness, Andrew Gutman going in there to work.
And on the other side of the field, another Hoosier down is Timmy Mell.
So 2 players got taken down there. Timmy Mell's still down. Looks like he's holding his head there, but Andrew Gutman got taken down. He's fine. He seems to get up from it. Timmy Mell's sitting up now as he's trying to find his bearings and get back up onto the pitch. As we talked about how this match was going to get physical, and obviously getting very physical as Timmy Mell and Sierakowski getting into it. Sierakowski He just earned a yellow card for that, going into the challenge with Timmy Mel.
And you can't be surprised with all that's on the line here between two teams that know each other. I mean, everything is on the line for these two programs, especially Indiana, a team that had only 3 goals this year to win a Big Ten title, failed at that, to win a Big Ten postseason title, failed at that, needing to almost fulfill their 3rd and final goal. And that's all coming straight from the mouth of Grant Lillard.
Well, and Eddie, you got to remember, too, this is a Michigan State team that has the talent, has the ability to also do those 3 things. As we see the physicality picking up here in the middle of the field. But this Michigan State team, they also wanted to win the regular season title. They had a chance to do it. They couldn't get it done. They wanted to win the tournament. They couldn't get it done as they got taken out early in that one. So now moving ahead, they're trying to get to that national championship, trying to get that 3rd goal. And both of these teams, they know what is at stake. Both of these teams have players that have the ability to win a national title, and especially for Michigan State with such an experienced team.
Two teams looking to respond from late season adversity. 1-1, 17:54 left to go, and a trip to Philadelphia on the line.
Eddie, it's obviously worth noting that Michigan State has not been to the College Cup since 1968. They've had opportunities to get there, haven't been able to do it. And now tied with Indiana 1-1, they're going to throw everything they can at the Hoosiers to try to get to that College Cup.
Santala, one of the 3 captains on this Spartan team, keeping control in the midfield. Fiskus, the other captain, up to Baroni. Tries to find Marcatonini, but Gutman is there. And then Frankie Moore taken down from behind by Baroni. No call. And now into the box is Freitag, who tries to give it a rip. It's deflected out. Another shot. Trey Muse is there, but the rebound cleared out. And a foul call on Marcatonini. Another huge chance, but Trey Muse showing why he's one of the best freshmen in the nation.
Well, Grant Lillard is on the ground here because he took a shot, took an absolute rip to the stomach. He just needs to be stretched out a little bit. He'll be fine. But Trey Muse, what an absolutely miraculous save there. He was off balance. You'll see it again here. Off balance, gets a hand to it, saves the ball. And offsides on Michigan State. As Indiana's going to take their time here, try to catch their bearings, get back into it. As Grant Lillard just putting his body on the line to get in front of an absolute rip. You see it there. Played very well this season, the senior captain for this Indiana back line.
These two teams throwing absolutely everything they have to try and send themselves to a College Cup.
I mean, this environment it's electric right now. The fans are into it. Both teams are up on their feet. The subs, the coaches, everyone. No one is on their butts, sitting down in their seats. They want to make sure they see what happens in this game. And obviously the players on the field, they want to make sure they can make a difference in this game and get to the College Cup.
Gutman to Thomas. Thomas looking to work that far side up to Dorsey. Dorsey, the impact freshman for the Hoosiers, tries to cross this in, but off the body of Krolicki. Spencer Glass will be substituting into the game for the Hoosiers, replacing Indiana's goal scorer, Trevor Swartz.
Spencer Glass coming back in, started out the first half, played very well, came out. Trevor Swartz came in, got the goal from the corner flag, from the corner kick opportunity. Obviously making his impact known, and now Spencer Glass trying to make his known.
Cross into Spencer Glass, who gets up for that one, but cannot get his head on it. An opportunity again for a super sub situation for the Hoosiers.
It's incredible the opportunities these subs get as soon as they come into the game. Rashad Hyacinth throughout the season, you mentioned he was one of the super subs for this Indiana team. You put him up top, he makes things happen. Now Spencer Glass and Trevor Swartz making things happen when they come in off the bench, immediately coming in.
Not only on the line in this matchup is an opportunity to go to the College Cup, you have to talk about legacy for both these teams who have historic programs. Both teams just trying to make their mark. Poncho trying to get beyond Watungo, but he cannot. And Watungo, a name we've said throughout the night, has been spectacular. Long ball forward for Baroni, who gets knocked down by Andrew Gutman. But that'll be out of play, no call.
Hunter Baroni not too happy with that one, but with the way this game has been being called, there is not much contact right there. It's just a little shiver with the arm. Didn't throw too much into him. Buckmaster, the smaller guy, it's Trey Muse, fortunately gets that one away for the Indiana Hoosiers.
He almost squandered this entire game for the Hoosiers, but makes the play. That's all you need, just make the play.
And Eddie, you mentioned how both of these teams, very tradition, a lot of storied tradition, as Michigan State went to the NCAA tournament. They've been there 19 times, all the way from 1962 to 1969, and then didn't make it back to the NCAA tournament until 2001.
Toy at the top of the box cuts in, and a beautiful sliding tackle by the senior leader, Jimmy Fiskus.
These two defenses going at it. Jimmy Fiskus and Grant Lillard showing that they do not want to lose this game. They want to stay in it and win this one and move on to Philadelphia.
DeJuan Jones now leaving it for Freitag. Santala crossing fields. Everything coming down now to mere moments. Ball dropped off out wide for Baroni. He's going to try and get by Dorsey. Crossed it in the box. Mel is there. Spencer Glass has got room ahead. He's going to play this long for Toy, who's got space, and he's got pace. Toy controlling it. Cuts back, loses control, and that's cleared out of play by, again, the senior leader, Jimmy Fiskus, who's really just gone one-on-one with this freshman.
That is a great job by Jimmy Fiskus to make sure he stays in front and not let Toy use his pace as he got the ball out in front. And what a tremendous ball by Spencer Glass to play it over the top, give Toy a chance to make something happen. An even better job by Fiskus to get it away.
Mason Toy, only a freshman, but he has been such an impact player for the Hoosiers. 10 goals on the season, and Big Ten Freshman of the Year for a reason. Gutman now cutting into the box to Toy. He gets double teamed, but off to Thomas, a quick move, a rip, deflected to the hands of Jimmy Haig, who just corrals that. But the ref will call for a corner. He could not grab it in before it passes the back line.
And these players are giving everything they can right now. Timmy Mel back there is already just stretching out his calves, trying to get warmed up as it's colder on the pitch than it is up here. But these two teams really going at it. And Jimmy Haig trying to keep that one inbounds, couldn't quite get to it. And now an opportunity for Indiana to get the winner possibly.
Mason Toy preparing to send in this in-swinger. Back post. Off ahead, a rip deflected out. An impeccable defense by the Spartans, a huge chance coming for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, Griffin Dorsey had the second opportunity there, but yet again, Jimmy Haig getting a hand to it, getting it away from the goal, and Griffin Dorsey just putting a rip in, gets deflected away, but the job isn't done for the Michigan State back line.
Now Spencer Glass with the in-swinger. He sets up and approaches. Near post, Frankie Moore to Lillard. Slide tackle, misplayed, and Michigan State can counter. They've got plenty of space, but Baroni can control, and Spencer Glass is going to look to move forward. Lillard on the ball. Loses it, and Ken Kurlicki can move forward. Jones tries to outbody Thomas, and the ref will blow the whistle.
Corey Thomas and DeJuan Jones going at it there on the sideline. Corey Thomas he is tired right now. You'll see it again here. Both of them going at it. DeJuan Jones using his pace, getting around Corey Thomas, and Thomas is forced to use his body and make sure Jones can't get to the ball.
Michigan State setting up on this restart right by the Hoosier faithful. This crowd has been loud and proud, looking to carry their team. Crossing at the top of the box. Lillard is there to clear it, but that will not be the end of the possession. Santala has it, crosses it in. A near post run from Sierakowski, but he can't get anything there. And a clearance out to Mason Toy, who can't get to that before Watungu.
Eddie, I think Watungu and Fiskus have been absolutely phenomenal in the back line there, as now Corey Thomas draws a foul. And Indiana's going to play quickly.
Dorsey on the ball, playing it forward for Reese Buckmaster. He's got room, he gives it a roop, and again, Watungu is always there.
And that was an ambitious chance right there from Reese Buckmaster. It was just him and Mason Toy up there, 5 defenders in front for the Indiana Hoosiers. Now the clock is going to be stopped.
Fans, tonight's attendance, 5,400.
So not quite sure why the clock is stopped, as all players are up. But it looks like now the trainer will come out on the field to check out either Grant Lillard or Timmy Mill.
With the trainer on the field, important to note just how impeccable this crowd has been. Recorded attendance for the night, 5,450, the 6th most in Armstrong Stadium history. The largest ever coming in 2013 against UCLA, 7,720. The first game after Indiana won their 2012 national championship. And this crowd has been impactful in the night.
And they were huge throughout the game, making sure they kept the momentum going for this Indiana team, especially after Indiana got the equalizer. They've stayed with them the whole time. Now under 10 minutes to go, these minutes are going to become very crucial for both teams.
A bad turnover off the throw-in. Santala looking to work quickly. Frankie Moore is there. Spencer Glass now looking to switch fields. Plays it up for Poncho, just a little too strong for his control.
Glass had Gutman starting to streak towards that left side, trying to streak down the line, but trying to get something happen, going right through the middle of the field.
Substitution for Michigan State. Into the game is number 18.
Michigan State making another substitution. They'll be taking out Hunter Baroni and bringing in Michael Miller, the freshman. As Jimmy Haig approaches his goal kick, important to acknowledge just how we've acknowledged this home crowd's impact. Acknowledge that Michigan State has faced challenges like this. They're 6-2-1 on the season on the road. And they're 6-1-2 against ranked opponents, so they know how to face challenges like this. Long ball forward to Sierakowski. One-on-one with Lillard. And Lillard wins that one as Sierakowski loses control.
Grant Lillard trying to get the fans back into this one. He throws his hands up in the air as he does a very nice job on Sierakowski there. I said how Sierakowski was going to have to be one of the men to make chances here. You see Damon Rensing there, the great coach in his 9th season at Michigan State. Got his 100th win with the Spartans this season just a few games ago. Both of these coaches for their respective teams doing a very nice job. Both of them hitting the century mark for their respective teams.
Both these great soccer minds really playing chess out there now when their team needs it. Indiana bringing on Trevor Swartz to replace Spencer Glass. Jones on the ball. Chipped forward and out of play. With 7 minutes left to go here in regulation, Jacob, do we start thinking about extra time and penalty kicks?
Absolutely. With these two teams going at it, both defenses, they're not going to let anything go up if they don't have to in the last 7 minutes of this game. It went to overtime in the regular season meeting, but obviously in the regular season it doesn't go to PKs. But here in the NCAA tournament, it is a very good possibility. And when it gets to that point, it really, you don't know. It's all luck up to that point.
Jacob, you have to acknowledge how this game is really an example of Big Ten excellence. A great crowd and great performance from these two teams, and we've seen a bunch of performances in the NCAA tournament from a wide variety of Big Ten teams.
Absolutely, and this is the battle of the Big Ten right here. These two teams get to decide which Big Ten team is the best team in the nation.
Swartz to Thomas, looks to take it the other way. Buckmaster. Dorsey out wide, crosses it into the box, but right to the hands of Jimmy Haig.
Also important to note that the other round of 8 matchup going on right now between the Akron Zips and Louisville, that started at 7 p.m. It is 0-0 in the 84th minute. So that one's going on at Louisville, the number 4 and number 5 matchup on the opposite side of the bracket.
If I was back at home, I'd be using my 2 TVs, throwing one on each, and watching the chaos that is this NCAA tournament.
Especially when it gets down to even the 16 teams, these 8 teams, everything just has a bit more to it. They can sense it, they can feel it, they can smell it, getting to that College Cup. And these two teams going at it now.
Pancho with a great turnover. Pancho out wide. Tries to cut it inside, but he can't get it by. Santala, who's on the ball now. Played up to Sierakowski. Gutman and Lillard collapse in on him and knock it out of play. Miller.
We're going to see both teams here in the last 5 minutes putting a lot of pressure on their respective back lines. We've already seen the physicality throughout this second half, especially once Indiana got their goal to go in. But now in the last 5 minutes, neither of these teams want to go to overtime because they know it could be over just like that if someone scores, and they definitely don't want to go to penalty kicks.
Sierakowski to Santala. Tries to play it forward for Jones, but Buckmaster there once again. Jones can't get to it. A huge takedown by Santala. The crowd is into it as Santala rips down Buckmaster from behind.
And that's an easy yellow card right there for the head ref. You see it there. Buckmaster does a tremendous job to get around Santala, and Santala with a bit of a professional foul to make sure Buckmaster can't streak down the line, takes him down, accepts the yellow card, and goes on with his day.
The cards have been flying tonight as both teams really putting their all into this, trying to send their program to the College Cup.
12 fouls for Indiana, 11 fouls for Michigan State. The physicality has been vamping up here in the second half, and offensively, both teams going at it. Indiana now at 22 shots, 9 of those on goal. Now a Spartan player going down on the ground. So the Indiana faithful not too happy with that, but you got to give it to these players. They're giving their all out there on the pitch. Every single one of them are going hard, making sure they're doing what they can. So you can't fault them too much. If they get a little bit tired, if they get some cramps going into this game, but if they can't find a winner, going into overtime is going to be extremely tough for both of these teams.
And you have to acknowledge both these teams have gone through some traumatic experiences in penalty kicks. Both these teams so talented that it's never a great situation for either of them to put themselves in such a almost fluky system of ending the game in penalty kicks. Indiana losing to Wisconsin in the Big Ten final. Then Michigan State losing last year to SIUE Edwardsville 9-8 in penalty kicks in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And you talked to Jimmy Hague before this matchup. He mentioned that was one of his biggest motivators this year, having been the losing keeper in the penalty shootout. He wanted to come back and respond this year and make a run, and that's what they've done.
Absolutely, and that's so hard on a keeper because it's really on you. You have to make the decision to go left or right, stay down the middle, whatever it may be. And when it goes 9-8, that's just extremely tough. You're getting tired. You have to make even more decisions, and you have to. It's really a mind game, is what it comes down to. So Jimmy Hague, obviously trying to get back there. The head ref having a conversation with Timmy Mell here, is trying to push the ball back, but Timmy Mell not wanting to go back as far.
4:20 left to go in this second half. 1-1. Toy on the ball. Running circles now. Up to Dorsey, who loses possession. And Sierakowski can head it for Krolicki. Michigan State going to try to work the counter. Rather, they're going to slow things down. Santala pushing forward in the midfield. Miller had the overlap from Freitag, but he chooses to switch sides. Mutungu to the chest of Mel. This Indiana back line breaking records throughout the season, only giving up 6 goals this entire year, including tonight's goal to Ryan Sierakowski in the first few minutes. Miller.
Indiana really looking like they're content with staying back, trying to play for that draw to get to that overtime position, just get a rest here as they try to find Sierakowski over the top.
Sierakowski with a pivotal opportunity once again, but he cannot convert. Sierakowski really has been the biggest issue for that back line.
Obviously, he got the goal in the first 2 minutes of the game, but that bump right there from Timmy Mell was a crucial bump. It knocked Sierakowski off his line, made sure he couldn't get around the ball and get some laces on that ball and put it on Frank.
This 1-1 matchup, important to note, Indiana with 23 shots on the night, only 9 coming from Michigan State. Indiana controlling a lot of possession, but it's all about finding the back of the net, which both have only found once. Pancho now, dropping it off for Gutman, he's got room. Low cross, trying to find Austin Pancho, can't get it to him, but Frankie Moore is there. The first team all Big Ten center defensive mid pushes it forward. He looks to switch sides and crosses it off a defender. Cleared up to Mike Miller. Gutman knocks it off Miller and throws it in. Pancho. Toy with the hold-up play. Can't keep control. Coming down to the final moments that can decide who the Big Ten sends to the Final Four. The College Cup in Philadelphia awaiting whichever team can find the back of the net here. Frankie Moore plays it forward for Gutman, but cannot find him. That ball a little too strong, and Haig can reset.
Frankie Moore has just been getting very frustrated throughout today's game with his teammates, and that's not something you've seen throughout the season. Obviously, getting into the latter part, just a minute to go now. Both teams are going to be going very hard, and the frustrations will be running high.
Frankie Moore, an emotional player, a very physical player too. He mentioned that's why he came to a Big Ten school. Krolicki trying to get by Buckmaster. A physical takedown from both, and then a push coming from Krolicki. The energy is high and the crowd is raucous now.
And these yellow cards already have been flying around. I wouldn't be surprised if Krolicki gets one here just for the initial challenge on Buckmaster. And then the push afterwards was very surprising, as this Spartans team getting very physical. Now there's going to be a bit of a talking to. You see it again here. Buckmaster does a great job to get in front of Krolicki, and then Krolicki just gets frustrated and throws his body on Buckmaster. Buckmaster not too happy, and then Krolicki just shoves him down again. But no yellow card shown for either player.
Ken Krolicki, a senior out of Plymouth, Michigan, really showing his frustrations on the night, but in moments like this, you're gonna have to keep a calm head. 29 seconds left to go in what has been a highly contested matchup between the number 7 and the number 2 team in the country. Trevor Swartz looking to work quickly here with 10 seconds left. Grant Lillard coming up. Cross into the box. Michigan State looking to clear it. Miller dropped off for Swartz, who gives it a rip off the ref. And that'll put an end to regulation. We're tied 1-1. And could you have signed up for anything more than extra time to go to the College Cup?
Absolutely not. 90 minutes of great soccer we've seen here on BTN Studio between two of the top 10 schools in the nation, between Michigan State and Indiana. Going to overtime, though, it'll get very interesting, as both of these teams have been physical. They've gotten tired, and now they're going to have to put even more effort into more time to play, and they really do not want to get to those penalty kicks.
It's extra time between Michigan State and Indiana. The winner goes to the College Cup. Jacob, what have we seen?
We've seen a tremendous game of soccer. Started out Michigan State attacking very quick. Second minute of the game, they score a goal. Then Indiana, they settle into their own. 25 minutes, they play the rest of the first half. They get a lot of chances on goal. Jimmy Haig showing that he was the Big Ten goalkeeper of the year. But then finally, Indiana found the opportunity from Trevor Swartz from the corner, scores from the corner, found the back of the net, tied the game up, and now it's in overtime with a chance to go to the College Cup.
So we see Jerry Yeagley, Todd Yeagley on the screen, confusing him with his father, and We see him on the screen because he's such a mastermind making this late extra time substitution and bringing on Rashad Hyacinth. How do you think he'll impact for the Hoosiers?
I mean, he's been such a great impact throughout the season with 3 goals coming in off the bench. He's a great holding forward, holding up the style of play. But now with Mason Toy and Rashad Hyacinth, that's a lot of pace. That's a lot of strength up top for this Indiana team.
Rashad Hyacinth, the senior from Trinidad and Tobago, told me if this team makes it to the College Cup, his father will make the trip on over to watch him play. So this is extra meaningful for him, looking to try and make that last impact.
And Rashad Hyacinth is really just the spark plug to this Indiana team. Always has a smile on his face, a very enthusiastic guy. And now standing up top, the strong forward that he is, he's going to try to make something happen in his substitution responsibilities.
Michigan State working on the counter. Michael Miller's got plenty of room, but Frankie Moore looks to collapse on him. Corrigan dropping it off for Santala. He's got space, but Mason Toy is recovering back to play defense. Rashad putting on that high press, trying to cause issues. He's got plenty of energy, having sat the entire night, setting up for this first period of extra time.
And he's really going to be called on to use that energy as everyone else has played throughout the game very tired, with the exception of Spencer Glass and Trevor Swartz. Those were the only 2 who got a bit of a rest. Everyone else has been putting their hearts out on the floor, on the ground, to go after this and get this game.
Jones trying to keep control, but he can. A tough touch. Gutman. What is the keys for both these teams moving forward, Jacob?
Well, Indiana, offensively, I don't think they change anything. Obviously, they brought in another forward because they want to create more chances up top, try to finish more chances when they get them. But for Michigan State, they're really going to have to be more aggressive. Obviously, they have the physicality down, but then in the final third, they aren't able to get some passes to make those crucial passes to get into the final third, get chances on goal, as the second half was completely dominated by Indiana. So Michigan State is going to have to use the advantage that they might be a little bit more of a fit team, try to move forward on that. But Indiana, they're a very fit team as well. So it's going to be tough for them, but they need to be more aggressive, obviously, here in a golden goal situation.
Miller pushes it out wide. Ball played forward for Baroni, but a little long. And now Gutman taken down on his run. And again, the physicality coming back as a theme here for this extra time.
And one thing that'll be interesting to see is if Michigan State gets a counterattacking opportunity. They're so good at the counterattack. As you see Gutman here using his pace, getting out in front, drawing the contact. And now a bad turnover for the Indiana defense.
Miller at the top of the box. Indiana's defense collapsing in on him. Baroni on Thomas. One move, and then a rip beyond Trey Muse and out of play, but a good opportunity for Michigan State.
And that is some trust from Trey Muse right there, knowing where he is in the goalpost. You'll see the curve there, actually getting a lot closer than I think Trey Muse initially thought it was going to get to the goal.
Trusting in the fact that Indiana needs to maintain possession and get a goal kick. Not willing to go out there and try and make a save on a ball beyond the net. Gutman, the second team Big Ten fullback. Hyacinth. Rather Mason Toy with that 1-2 with Glass. Doesn't function well. And now Poncho has it. Poncho gonna cross this into the box looking for Hyacinth. Clearance out to Sierakowski. Play starting to slow down a bit. Gutman forward to Hyacinth. Heads it to Toy, trying to spin and turn. It looks like he's being grabbed by Fiskus. And he's taken down, but Thomas has it now. Gutman tries to play it forward for Toy, and he can't get beyond the Michigan State defense. But again, that physicality really coming in.
And Eddie, it's very important to note that Grant Lillard is not on the field for this Indiana team. He came out for Rashad Hyacinth, who came in. Reese Buckmaster and Timmy Mel are playing in those center back positions.
Indiana going all out here. You have to question if he's hurt or not. Sierakowski making a move at the top of the box, but Frankie Moore filling in a little bit for that Grant Little role makes the pivotal tackle.
I don't think in a position like this, Grant Lillard would give too much to, if he was hurt, I doubt he would want to be out of this game. I think this is just more of a tactical decision from Coach Yeagley to get a lot of offensive players on the field and get those chances, because they know that PKs are so hard and they're really just come down to luck.
Indiana losing to Wisconsin in penalty kicks in the Big Ten Tournament Championship game. They know that penalty kicks are not their forte per se. Goodman defending the wide position. A big tackle on Freitag. Nothing called. And ball played forward for Frankie Moore, but a turnover. Santala making a move towards the box, crossed in and deflected out of play for what will be an Indiana goal kick.
It was a very odd sequence of events there. Spencer Glass looked like he was just playing the ball up the field, gets taken away by Santala, and then Santala put a move on Andrew Gutman, sent him to the ground. And then I couldn't tell if he's trying to cross it into the box or if he was taking a rip at goal, but from that angle, he had to have been crossing it into the box, but it went way over the bar for a goal kick.
Turnover off the goal kick. Baroni up to Sierakowski. He's got space. Timmy Mell tries to make a late save on that tackle. And nothing called as Sierakowski knocks that wide.
That's exactly what this Michigan State team is going to have to do. Get out in the counter, get the ball played up to Sierakowski, and let him go to work.
Gutman working here in the first period of extra time. A reminder that everything is on the line for these two teams. Baroni. Giuseppe Baroni in the midfield, gives it to Miller. Indiana lining up a substitution on the bench. That is Justin Renix, who's going to come in at some moment. Jones, out wide to Sierakowski. Up to Jones now. He's got room. He's going to look to give it a rip, but Timmy Mell, an excellent late tackle.
And Timmy Mell is shaken up on that tackle there as he goes down to stretch his legs out. And Justin Renix, his substitution is going to be huge for this Indiana team, because all of these players are getting very tired, getting cold. Now Jordan Klein is going to start warming up just in case he has to come in for Timmy Mell, as Timmy Mell is getting stretched out. But Indiana definitely needs the fresh legs of Justin Renix to come into this game. And Michigan State, like I said, they're taking advantage of the tired legs of Indiana and counterattacking them, pushing them up, and putting a lot of pressure on that back line.
Momentum really starting to shift here in this extra time. Justin Renix in the game. He's really a long-living legend here this season for Indiana. Renix spent a majority of the season injured solely as a freshman. We've only gotten to see him 6 times this year. Looking to try and make his impact, the number 22 recruit in the country. Renix loses the ball there. Jones has it. Sierakowski. Mel loses the ball. Jones now. Jones with a spinorama on Poncho, creating space, looking to cross this into the box. Poncho is there, and he knocks it out of play.
This is a crucial throw-in right here for Michigan State. Just over a minute to go. They're definitely going to try to get this into the box. Everyone's going to start pushing up in this. Mason Toy is going to probably have to come back and play some defense and make sure every man is marked.
Corrigan with a long throw-in, treating it like a corner. Headed out by Gutman. Hyacinth gets taken down by Baroni. And ref will stop play. Hyacinth head down.
And that was a big collision right there. Baroni was going in full head of steam at Rashad Hyacinth. You'll see it here. This is a great view of it. Baroni right into Rashad Hyacinth. He got hit in the rib there. It looked like he was clutching at his rib. He got hit hard, and it's not too often that Rashad Hyacinth is going to be taken down due to physicality, as he's usually one of the most physical players on the pitch.
He's one of the most strong, intelligent strikers in the Big Ten. He's hurt now. And it'll be interesting to see if he has to stay in or not, because that could impact the strategy moving forward for Indiana.
Looks like he's going to get up on his feet, walk it off a little bit. He's going to be all right, but Indiana's going to take advantage of this rest that they get, especially with just 47 seconds on the clock. So it looks like Hyacinth will trot off the field, but he is up. He's ready, and Trevor Swartz will come on for him.
Now Michigan State will have the opportunity to set up a pivotal set piece and a very advantageous opportunity. With 47 seconds left to go in this extra time. Score knotted up 1-1. And with Philadelphia and the College Cup on the line. Sierakowski above the ball, as well as Corrigan. The two setting up for this set piece with Philadelphia at their feet. Sierakowski knocks it into the wall. It's cleared out. Corrigan outside the foot cross into the box, and Buckmaster clears it out. 39 seconds left to go. Gutman heads that up. Baroni with a chance to volley it. He controls it, brings it down. Tensions rise as the ball bounces around the top of the box. Corrigan with a chance to cross it into the far post. Thomas gets taken down from behind by Brad Santala. And the clock will tick down here as we approach the end of the first period of extra time.
That is a crucial foul right there for Indiana. They're going to take advantage, let the clock run out, get to that break that they so desperately need, get ready for the second half of action, and they're going to try to get that winning goal. Both teams going at it. Michigan State, I think, had the upper hand in the first half of that overtime period. They played very well. They got chances on goal. Indiana offensively not getting too much going in that overtime. So now we'll look to see what Coach Yeagley adjusts and puts out there in the second part of the overtime.
You're watching BTN Student U with a 1-1 game heading to the second period of extra time. We're going to head to a quick break, but when we get back, the tensions rise even more. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eddie Cotton. Alongside me, Jacob Vincent. On the sideline all night, we've had Mary Kate Hamilton, and we are in the second period of extra time between the number 2 team in the nation, Indiana Hoosiers, and the number 7 team in the nation, Michigan State. And guess what, Jacob? You know, the next goal sends a team to the College Cup.
You're
Did you
right.
know that?
It all comes down to this. However, if they can't do it, it goes to penalty kicks. And then everything comes down to that. But this overtime period is so crucial for both teams. You still see the Indiana crowd. They're getting into it, making noise, trying to will their team on to victory, as Indiana trying to use that home field advantage to their advantage.
And the second period of extra time at the foot of Michigan State, and we are underway here to the final 10 minutes. Santala playing it through the midfield, using his strength, gets it to Jones. Jones using sweet moves, but can't get by Gutman. Out of play. Quick throw in. The ref will stop play.
Eddie, I talked about, we'll see what Coach Yeagley adjusts going into this one. He brought Grant Lillard back in, put him back at center back, brought Rashad Hyacinth out of the game, so they're back with just one center forward into the offensive set for the Indiana formation.
Are both these teams trying to win this now or trying to send it to PKs?
Oh, absolutely. Neither of these teams want to go to PKs. Both of them know the heartbreak that happens going to PKs, as Michigan State lost 9-8 against SIU Edwardsville last year in the NCAA tournament. Indiana already lost in PKs in the Big Ten tournament as well.
Chipped up by Jones, off of Lillard and out of play. And a massive corner kick coming now for Michigan State.
I mean, you could really say that about any chance that comes forward for both of these teams. Michigan State has really been advancing the ball up the field very well, putting pressure on that back line and making sure they're getting chances to come about.
Let us remind you that the 2 goals on the night, one by Ryan Sierakowski in the first few minutes, and then the second coming in the second half from Trevor Swartz off a corner kick directly into the back of the net. This in-swinger coming in to the far post. Off one head from Michigan State, and Spencer Glass can look to clear. Trying to get it by Miller. Miller wins that physical battle, and now Giuseppe Barone pushes it forward. Baroni gets it to Krolicki. Krolicki chips this up. Off of Frankie Moore at the foot of Jones, and cleared out for Glass. Glass with a slide tackle out of play. A great tackle by Glass. Baroni to Miller. The freshman trying to cut in on Gutman. Rensing yelling right in my ear. Marching out orders. Sierakowski trying to set up for a shot. Back to Krolicki. Michigan State pushing forward. Hold up play now from Sierakowski. Now he's going to go face up. One-on-one with Grant Lillard, the Mac Herman Trophy semifinalist. Back to Baroni, trying to get by Glass, trying to create room from across. Can he? He does. Chipped up beyond the far post, now to play for what will be a goal kick.
What a tremendous defensive set sequence there for the Indiana defense, making sure every man is marked, dropping back, communicating well, switching when they need to, not letting any passes get to that final third and get to a shot to get on goal.
Trey Muse, the all-star freshman from Louisville, Kentucky, kicks this out. Muse has been spectacular all year behind this back line. Gonna have to come up clutch for the remainder of this match as Michigan State has possession. Sierakowski in the final third. Taken down by Timmy Mell. He gets the intervention and he's gonna push forward with a long ball. But no one's on the other end of it.
I think he was trying to find Mason Toy in the middle of the field, couldn't quite get around to it, get the right part of the ball to send it up. But not a terrible clearance, just to relieve some pressure, let the Indiana back line settle down, get ready for the next attack.
Long ball pushed forward and chipped up by the Michigan State attack. Dorsey now. Swartz trying to push it forward. The counter coming from Michigan State and Giuseppe Baroni. The overlap from Freitag. Back to Krolicki. Through ball forward for Jones, but that is way long of his intended target, and Indiana again can reset.
Substitution for the Hoosiers into the game, number 12, Austin Poncho. Poncho replacing number 21, Spencer Glass.
Austin Poncho will be checking into the game for Spencer Glass in these final 5 minutes. Poncho, 2 goals on the season. Has experience with late goals last year against number 6 Butler, had the walk-off winner here at home. Mason Toy gets called for a foul in the midfield.
Hunter Baroni going down there, clutching his head, and looked like Mason Toy might have come around and got an elbow on his head, but Eddie, both of these teams, no stranger to overtime, especially Indiana. They've gone to overtime 7 times. They've only won it twice.
Baroni playing it forward now. The rip right at the arms of Trey Muse. Another pivotal chance for Michigan State.
Michigan State, on the other hand, they've been to overtime 4 times throughout the season, only won it once, tied 3 times. As now Austin Poncho gets shoved out of bounds. The crowd getting into it, the coaches getting into it. Everyone can feel what's at hand here with just 4.5 to play in this one.
Michigan State maintaining a lot of possession this extra time. How pivotal is it that Indiana can have a restart here?
Oh, it's absolutely pivotal. As we see the head ref going over to one of the assistant coaches, Rensing in front there. He's not getting talked to, the assistant coaches is, but Indiana always needs these restarts, always just to reset, get back into the groove of things, make sure everyone is where they're supposed to be, and then they're able to get some build-up play going. But Lillard turns the ball over there.
Freitag plays it long. Lillard clears it out to Trevor Swartz. Can't keep possession. Oregon back to Watungo. Watungo, a name I've said way too often tonight. He has been impeccable for this defense, right next to Jimmy Fiskus. Ball up to Sierakowski. He plays it down off the chest and tries to play it forward. It looks like it might have taken a touch from Timmy Mell. Rather, that'll be out of play for a goal kick, and Indiana can reset again and look to make a substitution, bringing on the freshman Justin Renix, who was out for a majority of the season. He will be replacing the freshman Griffin Dorsey out wide on that right wing.
And Justin Renix, he has a big opportunity here. He came in the first part of the overtime, couldn't quite get anything going, but now he's coming in with 3:21 to go on the clock. He has an opportunity to make something happen where He was injured for the first part of the season, came in, got his fitness back up to level. Now he's back up there. He has the talent to make things happen. Now he has the opportunity to do so.
Renix playing on that U18 team for the U.S. men's national team. Has that international acumen, part of that New England Revolution Academy program. One of the various talented players on the Hoosier roster that's played for the U.S. men's national team under 18 team.
We talked about how the freshmen have been making an impact throughout the season. Trey Muse having a great game. Griffin Dorsey having a great game. Renix came in for him. Mason Toy making an impact. Now, like I said, Renix has the opportunity to make an impact and help out his Indiana team that he's been having to watch on the bench for most of this game.
Giuseppe Baroni chips it forward. Renix on his first touch in. Can't keep it. Jones looking forward. He slips, but maintains possession. Through ball forward. Crossed into the top of the box. Gutman with a back heel flick, and then Swartz clears it out. But Fiskus has possession now. Krolicki chipped up. Off the chest of Sierakowski. Freitag, the low cross into the box, but an offside call from the side referee.
Indiana really needs to take advantage of this free kick right here. Take the time, get your team set up. It's going to start out in the back, get it to a player you trust with the ball, and then advance the ball up the field. Only a minute 40 left on the clock, tied at 1-1. They know what's at stake. Move it up the field, try to get on net, because they have not had anything going offensively in either one of the overtime periods.
Indiana trying to reach their 19th program College Cup with all of it on the line in this match. Michigan State trying to get back to the College Cup for the first time in over 30 years. Out wide. Freitag trying to get by Lillard. He cannot. Lillard showing you why he won Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. That cross off the foot of Gutman, and Lillard can keep control. Pushing it up to Poncho with 50 left to go. And that'll be a free kick.
It's going to get interesting here. 100 minutes ago, we'll look to see if Indiana wants to just play to get to penalties. As we've seen, they're tired throughout this overtime period.
Off the goal kick, Jones has control, but now it's Thomas. Thomas with 30 seconds left. Up to Renix. Pivotal tackle from Krolicki. Mel out wide to Buckmaster. The crowd on its feet here in Bloomington. Buckmaster across to the near post and above the head of Mason Toy into the hands of Jimmy Haig.
Haig is going to take his time. He doesn't want anything to happen.
8, 7, 6,
And with 5 seconds left to go,
3,
it's safe to say
2, 1.
that Indiana and Michigan State will be heading to penalty kicks here at Jerry Yeagley Field for the opportunity to head to Philadelphia and the College Cup. Jacob, are you ready for this?
Absolutely. I've been ready for it all game. This has been a tremendous game. You get to the overtime. Michigan State was pretty dominant of the overtime period. They had the chances. Indiana couldn't quite do much. I think Indiana is pretty lucky to get to this penalty kick stage.
And that's almost an absurd sentiment before this match even started, saying Indiana lucky to get into penalty kicks, but they seem to struggle towards the end of extra time. Tired legs impacting both sides. Now, how do you think tired legs impact a penalty shootout?
I don't think it impacts it that much because it comes down to one kick. Obviously, it's going to impact the keepers a lot more because they've been playing for all of those 110 minutes. They've had to put it out all on the line, especially Jimmy Haig. He's been tested a lot throughout this game. Trey Muse, a little bit more so in the overtime period. But it'll be interesting to see because these players, they're not rested, but they only have to kick the ball one time and focus on one chance to get it to the back of the net.
One chance, one moment to try and send your program to the College Cup in Philadelphia. Important to note for Indiana, the last time they were in a penalty shootout was against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game of the Big Ten tournament in Westfield, Indiana. And when they went to that penalty kick scenario, they pulled Trey Muse and put in Sean Caulfield as almost a penalty kick expert goalkeeper. it'll be interesting to see what they go with here.
It looks like Coach Yeagley and Zach Brown have both been talking to, along with Brian Masonoff, to Trey Muse, giving him a pat on the back, giving him some inspiration to get in there. So I'm thinking it's going to be Trey Muse for Indiana, but Sean Caulfield did come in to take the PKs against Wisconsin, but they lost that one 4-2. But it all comes down to this: Indiana, Michigan State, number 7 and number 2, and a chance to get to the College Cup.
The captains, Grant Lillard and Jimmy Fiskus, meeting in the midfield. Two similar guys, seniors, defenders, and leaders of back lines that have been impeccable this year for both squads in the Big Ten.
Absolutely, and they've been impeccable in this game as well. Fiskus, along with Watungu, have been playing absolutely dominant in that back line for Michigan State, not letting anything get past other than that corner kick for Indiana. And Grant Lillard on the other end, he's been laying it out, had a great deflection near the end of the second half, getting into it, making sure he stepped in front of the ball. You see the Indiana faithful, they want to stay. They want to see if their team can get to their 19th College Cup.
Now as we await penalty kicks to decide this one, we're going to send it to a quick break here on BTN Student U. Welcome back to Bloomington, Indiana. Penalty kicks to decide who from the Big Ten heads to the College Cup. Trey Muse will be the goalkeeper for Indiana. And Ryan Sierakowski approaches the first shot of the penalty kicks for Michigan State. Sierakowski, the only player on Michigan State to have taken PKs this year during the regular season. All Big Ten second team. And it's off the post, off a save from Trey Muse.
And Trey Muse is pumped up about that one. You heard the roar from the Indiana faithful. Trey Muse is out there eating.
Sean Caulfield got the opportunity for PKs last time for Indiana against Wisconsin. This time they bring in the freshman Trey Muse, and he faces the first challenge from Sierakowski.
Sierakowski got him leaning a little bit, but Trey Muse guessed right, got it off the post, and saved it. Job well done.
Now first up for Indiana, the captain, center defensive midfielder Frankie Moore. He's taken 3 penalty kicks all year, made all 3 right down the middle. See how he approaches this time. Moore, back of the net. 1-0 Indiana.
The Hoosier faithful getting into it. Francesco Moore, knowing that he's been scouted throughout the year, going up the middle 3 times. He saw that Haig was waiting for him. He decides to go upper 90 and absolutely buries it.
Now up for Michigan State with the score 1-0 Indiana after 1 round. Ken Krolicki, the senior out of Plymouth, Michigan. Second team all Big Ten last year. Big Ten all freshman team his freshman year. The senior looking to leave his impact now on this Michigan State program. And he finds the back of the net for Michigan State.
Very well taken PK there by Krolicki. Making sure he's seen, running up to the ball slowly, making sure he can see where Muse is leaning towards. He ties it up with Indiana 1-1, just slotted it in the back part. You'll see it here. Goes to his left, the little stutter step, and that got Muse off his line. And he put it to the opposite corner.
1-1 in PKs, the final part of the second round for Reese Buckmaster, who approaches. Reese Buckmaster, the converted midfielder who's played right back all year. No goals on the year, but 6 assists. And he scores! Indiana with the 2-1 lead in the second round.
Two to 1, and Haig, he's holding his head down, but he's had a tremendous game so far, and that is an absolutely phenomenal PK from Reese Buckmaster, putting it in the upper 90. The last 2 from Francesco Moore and Reese Buckmaster have found the opposite upper 90s.
Indiana leads the PKs 2-1 in the third round. Trey Muse, the freshman, has been impeccable all season in net for Indiana. Coming up against Brad Zentala, one of the captains for Michigan State, the senior. It's saved by Muse!
And Trey Muse, the second save out of the PKs he's had. An unbelievable performance. And Austin Pancho could get it done here. You see Centala stepping up. Muse faking to the left, and then ends up going to his left. A great save. And Centala knowing that this could be it, with Austin Pancho approaching the 12-yard line.
Pancho, one of the leaders on this team.
Austin Pancho.
2 goals, 1 assist on the year. The junior out of St. Louis, Missouri. In the 3rd round, Indiana leading this PK. Shootout 2-1, looking to go to the College Cup. Pancho finishes it! 3-1 Indiana after the 3rd round.
It's that much closer for Indiana. A great PK taken here. This one is tucked into the back of the net. Side netting for Austin Pancho. Haig guesses the wrong way. If Trey Muse can come up with yet another miraculous save, he could send Indiana back to the College Cup.
DeJuan Jones needs to make this for his team. 2nd team All Big Ten for Michigan State. The forward, junior out of East Lansing, approaches. And he finds the back of the net, sealing that back corner.
Ice. DeJuan Jones has ice in his veins right there, because that PK was absolutely tucked. Trey Muse guessed the right way, went to his right, but DeJuan Jones tucked it into that side netting, making sure Trey Muse did not have a chance to get to it.
Now Mason Toy, the freshman, with an opportunity to seal this PK shootout and send Indiana to Philadelphia and the College Cup. The freshman with 10 goals on the season. And it's saved by Jimmy Haig and out of play. The Big Ten goalkeeper of the year coming up big time.
Jimmy Haig has been having a tremendous game throughout this one. And another amazing save. Mason Toy goes right. Jimmy Haig goes to his left. And fortunately for Jimmy Haig, that ball stayed off the line, but he was alert and made sure to try to get back over to it.
Now after 4 rounds, Indiana leads 3-2. Michigan State again needing to make this to stay alive in the NCAA tournament. Giuseppe Baroni approaching the kick. Muse in net. And it's saved! The quest for 9 continues!
Indiana has been working all season to get to this point. And what a picture. The heartbreak for Michigan State. The jubilation for Indiana as the students rush the field. They go to their fellow students as Indiana wins the shootout 4-2. And Indiana makes the College Cup for the